we get back into the flow of things, though, with more stuff to come up, Max, I think audio's back now and I should be able to hear you. There we go, yeah. I kind of was just lip reading and assuming it was probably some great points you went for there. That's a bit of a shame. I did miss out on your take on that one, but I assume you were hitting some high notes on it, mate. Yes, did the classic, we're fine. Hey, look, you know, it wouldn't be esports without some minor technical issues with the old airwaves, so it is what it is. But a great first game, dialed in there, bud. That's a nice way to start things. We'll see how it goes from here. But let's move on to greener pastures and check out the old schedule, of course, and see what we're working with coming up next. Erangel will be preceding the break. Then we've got those two back-to-back Miramars today, and that final grassy pasture finished all the way towards the tail end. You can see, of course, the split of groups that we've got here, Max, for the remainder of the games, really. Next two games, it's going to be B, C, D, and E, and then it will be A, C, D, and E for the final two games of the night.
Yeah, I mean, two more games, right, where Aurora and Champions are not going to be playing. So a DG77, the TT Project, you're looking at Vicious. They're having an absolute field day today. Like, oh, we're loving this. This is an opportunity where the other big squads can't really fight back in the ranking. So it's getting very exciting to see if they can indeed capitalize on this opportunity. But you know what? I don't even want to break right now, Jackie, realistically, because the action is at an all-time peak here at ECA. It's the grassy pastures, as Kalaris would say. Back once again, groups B, C, D, E. No Champions, no Aurora. Will the other squads be able to play that comeback card?
All right, well, here we go then. Like you say, no break needed, mate. Oh, yeah. Well, that's like full Ace Ventura. All righty then.
Oh.
Oh, mate. God damn. You know what?
What?
Should we give them some gas on it on the playing path just to see, just in case people would love it, mate?
Sure.
We'll really send it. You ready?
Yeah.
The engine's turning, the plane flying, the grass looking green. Max, we're going into game 2.
It's time, ladies and gentlemen. George Pole down to Novo. Will the hot drops happen? Will the madness ensue? We'll see. Right as the teams make it to their drop location.
There we go. See, fire on that one. Yeah, exactly.
Blood
fire
pumping. Let me at him. I want to play the game too. Come on.
He's ruthless. He's got the boxing gloves on whilst he casts today. So please stay behind the barriers there for your safety when you see Max casting. He can't be held accountable for his actions, and neither can our teams if they kick this one off with early combat. I know it would probably send you on a bit of a tailspin with how important the games are today, Max.
Wait, so, this is terrible. So, okay, so I got on a more serious topic now. So we talked about how Aurora's not playing, right? And they're like, they love these circles. Same for Champions. They dropped Western Bridge next to Ferry Pier. This would have been the perfect game for Aurora. The fact they're not playing is just even better for everyone involved, because this is a game where I rarely see Aurora fail a military island finish. They always make it to top 5, top 3, ton of eliminations, gatekeeping teams, right? The fact they don't have this circle is genuinely so big. So we'll see if teams are able to capitalize even more. Though, going to have a cheeky hot drop here. It's going to be west side of Boatyard. Next to the spawn location of these cars. It's going to be next to the garage. And it's going to be 27 plus. Again, they keep taking L after L after L early game. They're taking another one here, it seems. Even getting knifed. Tapok knifed out of the competition by a player of Afterlife. But Afterlife will get eliminated eventually. Whew, it got a little bit too close, a little bit too dicey here, but they will be able to get back up as a full squad, but not comfortably. That was way too close for comfort.
Yeah, bro, that's such a weird one as well. I was watching that, was sort of, you know, you're debating the idea of if we'd see teams really still going for these aggro drops today. And yes, we do indeed. Afterlife ranked 12th up against 27 plus ranked 17th coming into this one. It started out really nicely for Afterlife. They had, like, you know, the bare basics to play with, and we're getting a majority of the knocks. But no, they're gone. They exit stage left. See you later, lads. So 27 plus have one good start to a game. Is it going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. But at least it's a boon today.
Yeah, not going to be looking too good. Afterlife 2, they had 49 points. Generally not out of reach of top 4. They had the biggest day imaginable, which from the looks of it, they are a team that can constantly get a few points. Was I thinking they would make it top 4? Maybe not, but like here the dream is realistically crushed. No way they're making it to top 4 after taking a 0-pointer match here on Orango. And also, actually, let me check based on their groups. Are they still going to be playing for the rest of today? Because they're in groups. Let me check their group. Looking at them, they are. Am I blind? I can't find them. I'm looking for their logo right now.
Yeah, I think so this is their ninth game. This should be their ninth game, I think.
Ninth game? Okay, cool. So
or eighth game, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. So, where? Okay, I need to get a new club. Oh, no, I see them. Okay, then Group C. So they're playing all off today. Okay, so they are playing all off today.
Yeah.
They will be able to still get some decent points on board. But yeah, even with that in mind, I'm not going to be looking too positive when looking at their prospect these games. Though Metacore going to get pushed up by Ozrox. I'm really confused about Ozrox. Sometimes they're looking to be very passive, a bit desperate for positions, and sometimes they take early game fights. I don't really see any cohesive play. I think they just act a little bit disorganized sometimes. This is a fight that normally you really want to avoid, especially when you're in 13th position. You want to try and just make it to the late game, get some placement points. And they're fully sending it on Metacore. The Metacore at this point have nothing to lose right there. In 20th place, they know they can't catch up to top 4, so they might as well just go for the fight. So I think Ozrox are doing a big fumble here to commit to a fight that they really should not be taking in the first place.
Yeah, it seems like a two sides to the coin situation, right? Where maybe for them, they're thinking, well, Metacore have had such a rough lower things in knockout stage, we can just bully them for some free points. But like you say, for Metacore, a cornered animal is when it's its most dangerous, Max. They've got literally nothing to lose or gain. So yeah, they'll do whatever they can to ruin your chances if you're going to take a fight to them. Let's see. Can the Belgrade Bruisers of Ozrox do any damage on this one? Leon 44 cooking the nade, throws that out and shuts down one man at least. Rest of the team further back. Can they assist? Rooftop peak going to be spotted out by Blue. They climb their way up. They're dealing with it thus far, but they've got to get out without a single casualty, and that is now no longer possible.
Still, the thing is, even losing a member is really just destroying all of the chances we see a good finish from Ozrox. So yeah, if you wanted them to have a chance of doing something, they need to win this flawlessly, losing absolutely no one, getting 4 eliminations on Metacore. And Metacore, as you said, right cornered animal here in the situation where they just can commit. They don't have much to lose. They don't have a lot on the line this match on the wrangle, as Grills does get actually flushed on out by Blue. So that's going to be another elimination secured by good old Ozrox. And they are in circle, by the way. There's a portion of mainland up north that is going to be in the play zone. This location is one of those areas. So realistically, you don't have to rush. You don't have to try and end it early to get into the play zone. They do have a little bit of extra time, so you don't have to rush it and make any significant mistakes. Because here, it's going to be Cyrex on the rooftop.
Yeah, patiently. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. If you can still hear us, we are resolving this right now. If you can't, don't worry about it. Looks like there's the feed back on our screen, so we'll roll with it for now and assume that we are still live until we're told otherwise. Let's see where it goes from here then, Max. You're going to have the move up from Metacore. Tiger back on screen now versus Ozrox as this one carries on. Molly thrown out, shots coming towards them. Leon 44 making plays with the SMG, and the shot he will strike back upon them. So Ozrox eventually deal with everyone from Metacore and close that one out. But of course, you are now lambs to the slaughter potentially for Arc Red, the bigger fish in the lobby that has swum over to steal away these points and be able to put themselves into a good position. That's Glory with the shots down range, hitting heavy with the Scar. Blue's gonna go down as well. Oh dear, oh dear.
I'm sorry, but Blue should have won that 9 times out of 10. He should win that every single day of the week. But no, he still gets overwhelmed by Star in the 2-seater that was going so damn slow. Even I would hit that shot, just to be a bit more critical. But yeah, Ozrox finally an opportunity to celebrate. Like, yeah, we just won. We beat Team Metacore. And then Arcred have different plans in mind. So it's going to be looking good to get 3 free points here. Really, really easy fight secured by them. And able actually to jump up a little bit higher too in the rankings, which you need to see from this squad, from Arcred. They're looking good in 3rd position. Just want to try and create a gap. And because actually of those eliminations, Jackie, able to overtake successfully the likes of DG77. So it's going to be really close, down to the wire for so many of these teams in top 5, top 6 currently.
Oh, look at him go.
Oh, glider.
Throws at the glider. Yeah.
No, we don't see the PL rotation. They don't have The horse on the wings of the glider. Could have been done better.
It's true. Mate, imagine Molodoi with the horse and Groza in the glider, achieving the ultimate dream. We're one step of the way there. It's always nice to at least have a little bit of respite with the glider cam. But hey-ho, they're going to be making their move around and trying to get down towards a better position here. Back into the zone now as they'll pull their way in. Curious if anyone's going to have a bit of a field day coming up into Sivnovska from the coastal line, namely being Amex. Oh, hang on. Do they actually make it in safely?
I think it's so easy to spray this down. It's looking so bad. They do get himself a little bit of damage. Well, yeah, you just got to crash at that point. Yeah, there's nothing's going to work out. They do have then a second also glider coming in. They found 2 gliders. But GOAT team looking to defend it. It's going to be, though, only a Yato. But I would say if you're GOAT team, you want to try and regroup on the Yato and try and actually successfully defend this southern eastern ridge. But, yeah, Avalanche, they got the car. They're going to leave 2 players in the water. I think they just gave up on getting the full reset. But Butcher fully out for the count, in my opinion. Tommy, he's just going to wait things out. Hope the GOAT leave. Even Gross is just not able to really escape the grasp of GOAT team. Yeah, the thing is about glider rotations is that you need to have no one looking at you as you pull it off because you're such an easy target up in the sky. And as Molodoi also will be next to fall, only Tommy is left as a straggler in the water. The Blue's going to start doing some damage too. He has a lot of meds to work with right now, so he could survive a decent amount of time, but really, that is going to be their game dead in the water, literally, this match.
Yeah, there they go. Out of action. I mean, you know, it's unfortunate, dude. Like, GOAT team, honestly, you give them an opportunity to just get at you for free, they're going to take that. So they just do absolutely obliterate them on the rotate and keep them pinned into position. Tommy basically just descended at the mercy of the glider and sort of cratered down into the water. That's why he is where he is. Ironically, in the double blue, the ocean, and now the zone with it moving up. So likelihood of him even getting anywhere from this is going to be very slim to none at best. Rest of the GOAT team are going to be happy to snatch a few points on that one. Now, that kind of conversation we were having about Afterlife, right, where we were saying, oh man, if they had a good game here and a good run today, maybe there could have been something. That's a whole lot better when you look at the prospect of a team like GOAT. It felt like their first couple games on day one, a lot to be desired. Yesterday, though, way better, playing like the side that we were ranting and raving about back in the club open. It's good to see them bringing that sort of firepower out. 3-point earner thus far with the elims they got from Avalanche on this game. Let's see what else they can achieve from it the longer it goes on. They're very heavy focused on the investment of getting Tommy to complete the full squad wipe, but will this come back to bite them in the bottom?
It might be a little bit of an issue. The thing is, you're delaying so much your rotation and your focus on getting into the play zone, and that means you're also going to be losing insight on where teams might be located across the entirety of Circle here. As teams already looking good. TT Project, DG77 going for their typical 2-2 split. They've done it, I believe, every single game so far this tournament. They're really adamant on committing to this strategy, and so far it's been really, really successful. Tommy pushed up. Sure, he finds a knock, but the thing is the entire team is there, so that is not going to be a player that you can easily flush out for that elimination point. Good for GOAT team. But I'm really happy you bring up GOAT team because I think that their main focus yesterday was increasing that survival time, dodging unnecessary early skirmishes that really don't give you too much value in the overall scale of this tournament. So I think that's been a really good change of pace for GOAT team, and I think the reason why they've been so successful on day 2, got a chicken dinner, also a decent amount of podium finishes. If they can keep it going today, who knows, maybe could be remaining in top 4 to make it to the grand finals. But of course, they do not have too many games to work with, so they've got to make sure they get the points while they still can. Back to teams over to the mainland here, Jackie. There's not many teams remaining. It's going to be Vicious and Arcred, and they're going to fully commit to the fight against each other.
Ooh, diving straight into the compound of Arcred. Can they wrestle it off them? Narvalo on the doorway. Third-person peek round the side. He spots them out, though, and quickly switches to the primary weapon. Puts it to good use as the shotty will stun them on the ground floor. Koa trying to get up to clear the elevated angles as well. But it's Hardboy that's up on the rooftop. Nade flies by. Good chip damage as it bursts in air. Oh, mate. That's very nicely played, Max.
That is always going to be the angle you want to camp when you have a member on Lighthouse, which is exactly where Glory is. So this is Vicious, just again, really putting on full display that they know every single nook and cranny of these type of buildings and compound. And yeah, they know Glory's going to be in the distance. That's going to be the natural evolution of this fight for themselves. Is just find that straggler, send it as a trio, and get that elimination. They are going to be a little bit split apart, but that is still going to be enough to get rid of Glory and the entirety of Arcred. Vicious, genuinely, in this area in particular, I think there's no better way to execute that fight any smoother, Jackie. That was 10 out of 10 stuff in that particular spot on Orangle.
No, it's beautiful. The predictions, the game sense, and understanding the angles that were in play and handling it very nicely as a team in terms of the peaks as well. So fair play to them. And again, that just goes to show, right, that's what's been winning them points. That's what's been giving them a whole lot of stock into these games. The macro's been so nice, but it's even just the micro adjustments in these kinds of situations where you can see the comms are very clean. Heads on their shoulders today that look very switched on. So awesome signs of life there from the Vicious. Will they maintain that to break into the top 4, though? That's the big gambit. And with Arc Red out of the running on this one, that could be another opportunity to try shuffle your way up and force them off of their spot. Lay claim to it. Goat is still alive, though, even if Moxie's on his last legs. It's SSE Epic trying to hold on, but Ayato with the shotty wins out on his fight. Focus as well, getting thrown into the blender, as this one will result in a bit of a stalemate for either team. It favors them, though, as Moxie gets the molly to spread round the corner, drops Corp. So this fight carries on. Both teams losing a lot of firepower here.
Really good molly from Moxie, because also keep in mind this is not wooden floor, meaning it doesn't spread. So you really got to be pinpoint accurate with that utility, which he was at that moment in time. Destined to Rise also deeper out in the blue. Also some members still on the bridge that do get flushed out. So that's going to be Ralph out for the count. But Go Team just farming early eliminations. They really want to get involved in these fights early match. Now looking for the solo here in this building. It's going to be Silence. The nade goes for the bounce, and it's going to be 2 good pieces of utility connecting, I believe. Well, actually, maybe it was one of the off angles of a member. No, it will be the grenade of Ayato to wrap things up in C block of a military base. But to the western bridge. Thing is, look at this circle. The bridge is still in zone, meaning Vicious, if they want, they can just send it over to the bridge, play under the bridge, actually, if they really want to. They don't have to fully commit to the cross onto Military Island. So Vicious, this is not looking like an easy game, but they could still get actually relatively far and maybe outlive a lot of the teams that are still right now involved in these fights. Over to the west and east, things are getting tricky, but on the eastern edge in particular, it's going to be 777 and D2R. D2R getting picked off left, right, and center, down to Betts. He's going to find a shed, and you know the Betts and the... Oh, no, he's not going for it. I thought we would see the Betts shed buff here, Jackie, but no, he has different plans in mind.
It seemed like the sort of play he would be naturally drawn to, as it's where he seems to do his best work. But no, he's got other ideas in mind, mate. Perhaps a rock. That's where he's going to park for now. Leave himself lying in wait. He's near TT Project as well, so wants to keep himself safe. You've got Prepod armored up inside of the hovercraft with the rest of DG keeping their attention on their periphery vision. Now they could be throwing themselves towards this setup on the roadside there with 777 and KZ just ahead. They've got a lot of vehicles in play, so they can make their rotation quite rapidly. Meanwhile, it's Effect that repositions to get that final shot off onto Betts. He pulled up by the rock, stayed there just hoping no one would notice him, but TT do spot him, tag him, and that's one more elimination for them. This is first this game, pushing them up.
Sorry, I wanted to jump in because TT Project had a really good response of this circle, which is they'd have to solidify their defensive setup in the compound. They can't just hold off Vicious the entirety of this game. Otherwise, you're going to be stretched way too thinly, and teams are going to have a bigger advantage when looking to push on your location. So really good game plan again for TT Project to increase that survival time this match. It's going to be Moxie in that building. One Molotov would be good, actually, but I doesn't see any Molotovs in the arsenal of Effect. It's going to be coming down to that nade. Smoke's coming on through. I would say this would be a very important fight to wrap up for TT Project. Maybe just full send it if you know it's a solo. But Moxie can pull a few crazy solo clutches he's done in the past. I think this is going to be a bit too strong of a team to do it up against. As Phase 5 coming up in the next 5 seconds. But the hovercraft clash, they're just butting heads right now. And they're going to try and find Nomi. He's running away, going into hiding, and he does find it. He makes it inside. Doesn't get squashed, as now he's going to be raining absolute hellfire on this vehicle. But will get punished.
Oh, mate, it's like Robot Wars out there, Max. They smash the hovercrafts into one another. He actually gets it with a bonnet as well. Runs him over with a hovercraft. Broken bones and perhaps broken dreams for 777 as this is all going so wrong. And if DG77 clean up on this fight, they'll be able to get themselves 2 hovercrafts. Well, only 1 now as they blow it to bits, trying to use that as hard cover to play behind. It's Warrior that's tucked in position. Pre-pod runs at them with a bazone, but it's all gone. Shut down there in a very awkward encounter that is now 4 potential points that could be stolen by GOAT Team with a well-placed nade. The first lands, blows away 6. Ayato engages as well. This is messy, Max.
Someone needs to tell GOAT Team, this is not a Rondo match. You're not supposed to have this high eliminations at this point. It's down to 1. It's 4, surrounded by members of 777 and an entire squad of AMX. They're a little bit spread apart right now, but they should be looking to put their entire focus on the southern eastern ridge. DG Project, again, flexing out, getting rid of Moxie, just gave them a little bit more breathing room in this circle to flex out, get more insight on where teams might just be located, and they still have really good working condition cars. They can start to pivot if need is be. But Vicious, keep an eye on Vicious. They're still on the bridge here, Jackie. They haven't needed to commit to the push over to Military Island. Everyone's kind of forgotten about them. I believe Vicious, bare minimum, off the back of this fight, off the back of this game, should be getting a 2nd place for free. The Circle's been very kind to this team in 7th place.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a touch from them, really. They've been blessed to be able to play a more passive setup and have everything just come towards them. Let's see if they can convert on this and still find room to get some extra elims. Talking of elims as well, this is a classic state of affairs from Amix, right? This is more what they do. They wake up at some point, they start to just build a game off the back of getting elimination points and then look to convert it into a big earner. They are so far down the rankings, this would do wonders for their overall confidence. A team that's usually beastly, but they have been banished from any of our placements in the prior games. Let's see if that changes on this one as we get our final top 4 here. TT Project, the Vicious, Amix, and 777 once again.
777 going to be a bit of a pain in the side of Vicious. If they eliminate them, one thing that we don't say too often about bridges is compared to the compound of TT Project, this is high ground. Technically, the bridge is indeed high ground. So if they're able to wrestle that position away for themselves and snatch it from the hands of 777, Vicious could really just rain down absolute hellfire upon the 2 enemy squads of Amix and TT Project. But as I say that, the nades coming on strong. This Warrior clapped right back into the face and instantly confirmed by the nade of Narvalo. What good timing and synergy from Vicious. So now, it's only 1 player. He's in the distance, trying to survive, trying to play under the bridge. It's going to be Redlick. It's not going to be an easy transition as Amix also looking to flex out once again in a 2-2 split. You got to be careful though. You are going to be weakening your current spot in that split. So if you do lose a play or 2, your entire strategy might just fall apart. But Redlick, I think genuinely, if he gets eliminated, we could be looking at bridge chicken dinner headed the way of Vicious. But that solo is really slowing things down for Vicious. It's really hard to get rid of.
Yeah, they want to just find a way to flush him out, basically. Problem is as well, could this result in an overinvestment of most of their offensive utility, just trying to flush him, and then they leave themselves low on supplies when it comes down to an actual final fight encounter? We'll see if that comes to fruition. For Amix, they're basically just trying to pincer between one another and hold back the incoming assailants of TT Project to see if you can keep them at arm's length. So a little bit of respite for our teams. And the Vicious move further down. Supplies around with the death crates that are in position. So a quick bit of looting, seeing if they can find any more nades. It's mostly just smokes. When you're looking at the head count and the utility they've got left now, for the Vicious, it's like 12 nades to 12 smokes to 2 nades that they've got remaining now.
On a finish like this, I'm not sure how useful nades are going to be unless they get below the bridge, which Vicious, if they get rid of Redlick, they should be able to get some easy angles on TT Project and maybe Amix too. Circle going to be ended, actually is going to be dead center on the road, so this is going to be looking even better for the likes of Vicious. Going to be making the jump. Oh, he's on the rail outside. Oh, he's playing some really sneaky game here, Redlick, playing parkour below the bridge. Able to escape the gaze of Narvalo. who was locked and loaded with the M4 with a 4x scope, but TT Project, they mean business here, Jackie. They're looking for the wide wrap down south, looking to control the high ground, it seems, away from Amix, and that's going to be a good opening knock from Zerich, confirmed out by Neos with a UMP, but everything falls apart as they look to regroup. Amix looking to fight back, down to a trio. It's going to be Ephiz, Effect, and Zerich. Can they defend this position? Can they hold on to the ridgeline? As good as their foe, going to be sitting it solo, but his teammate is there. The blue zone does the damage, gets rid of everyone. It's down. It's close. It's going to be risky as Zerich in the distance will be able to get an off angle too onto Spike. It's going to be hard to disengage with the buggy. He does go, make it to the road, over to a slight dirt pile. He could be looking safer as Effect also has got his own vehicle. Will be looking to regroup onto Zerich.
Mate, this is ridiculous. The longer all this goes on as well, between TT and Amix fighting each other to the death, obviously the dream scenario for 777, you're just watching with your fingers crossed for Redlick to be able to survive long enough to not only maybe still second place, but potentially even push it further if he can just rat this one out. Till TT now engage onto the Vicious, they're going to turn their attention. They've been able to completely flush out Amix down from the ridge side. They get nothing from their investment on that. It's a 4th place finish for them. Now TT have time to heal back up. They can reset from the fight, then start to make a move. That zone's going to be coming up soon as well, about 20 seconds shy before we find out how this one shifts. And this is that angle that's been in play. Oh, mate, you can even see the feet. Oh, it's Zerich in the back. He's able to get the angle back. We didn't expect that one. That'll deny the second place from him. And now it goes down to our final fight.
Not going to lie, I'm going to use those tricks in my own Ultimate Royale games. I did not know you could go on that steel beam below the bridge. That's some really good techniques used up. And it does actually push him up to a really solid 3rd place, right? So that is going to be a really big win as a solo from his squad and himself as a solo on that push from 777. Now, yeah, TT Project, he's got that crate. Not sure what's inside of it. Definitely not MG3. I'm pretty sure he would have looted it at this point in time. The circle going to be shifting away. Vicious got full zone control, which is not going to be looking good for TT Project. But luckily enough, actually, Jackie, they got knocked early on that fight with Amix. They got a full reset. They got 4 players. They have the man advantage. It's a 4v3. That could be enough to make a decent entry in this zone. As Neos, he's going wide. He's going to the west. Will Vicious be able to defend it? Right now, he's got a good dirt pile behind that rock. But Icy's got the nade, and that could be the end of Neos if he hits it right on the head. How did he get it? What? Novallo!
What?
The aim with the M4 is there, and he gets the headshot. That's going to be the off angle completely denied as TT Project falling down like flies.
Mate, that is despicable. Edging on the corner of the smoke there. Instant barrage of bullets. Does not miss a beat. Perfect spray. And now the chances for TT are slipping further and further into just that, a chance, not a reality. Effect's the only one that remains alive. He's in the vehicle. His teammates all down and out, left cold on the ground. 4 nades to play with as he takes this encounter head on against the Vicious. Doran down in the bottom right-hand side towards the back of the bridge, spots him, rips his HP away. No real big meds to play with either. It's just the bandages, so he can't really give himself much self-sustain. Oh, Icy's cooking the nade. If that one's on target, it could blow him away. It should surely only be a matter of time here.
Could be a good one to jump. Oh, gets actually some damage to connect onto Effect. That's going to be definitely helpful because he's down to only 6 bandages here, Effect. So he's really not going to be able to heal up too much. Really got to stay hidden for a few seconds to hopefully get some extra HP on board. Zerich making it to the steel beam. Will be able to connect it successfully over there. But the thing is, keep in mind, Doran, he's below the bridge. He's got a good angle. If they try and send it low ground, this is going to be the end of the line. The Molotov is going to be perfectly thrown, and that is Vicious to claim as such an important chicken dinner match 2 of the day. And who knows, maybe climb even higher in that heavily contested top 4.
There you go. A big result for the Vicious. We were saying, you know, it's really them and Arc Red vying against one another to see how far they can fight, see if they can break back in. With Arc Red going down early into this game, that leaves an opportunity to be lapped potentially, and the Vicious getting themselves 18 points off the back of this one. It makes their lives easier if they are still in the runnings to try and snatch away one of those heavily contested top spots in our group.
I don't know if you saw it at the end. Was it a self-molly at the end from TT Project? I believe it might have been if they wanted to deny the point, but I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if he went for it himself at that point, accepting that it was just worth taking the second place to deny the extra point, or if it was thrown up. I don't think there was any mollies left on the Vicious at that point. They were low on offensive utility.
Yeah, I think we'll see the replay very soon, right, of the ending of that game, so we'll truly be able to crack the case.
Yeah.
Was it a self-molly or not? But really good use of the bridge, right? Just that extra bit of elevation, though. It's very rare when you say a bridge is actually high ground compared to a majority of the terrain in a finishing circle like this. And Vicious, they're like, we don't have to cross, so we're just going to bide our time, let all the other teams fight each other, and actually just get an easy podium finish. And I think even they were surprised that they ended up getting that chicken dinner, because it's very rare to have a circle in that exact area of the map. And it worked out beautifully for themselves. Same for TT Project, and also big respect to Amix. We said we want to see just more presence from this team. Top 4 is going to be out of the question entirely, but again, doing it just before entering into last chance. This is really good timing from this team to get some more confidence on board.
Mate, by the way, that pick right there from Zerich, that would have been the difference, I think, of Red Lig being able to also make it far more uncomfortable for the Vicious. He was set up to just be able to shoot into the chest without being spotted as they pushed up. And then Zerich just does classic Zerich maneuvers. He could be 200 meters away. He sees a sliver of your skin. He's going to take shots at you. That was the final clip there. Did we catch it?
I think it was a self-molly because I didn't see any arcs of throwables. I think it was just chucked on the ground right away. So I think it was a point deny, which is a good thing to do if you are TT Project, because as we said multiple times, looking at the rankings, it is getting real close for so many of the squads up there. Looking at the overall player stats of the Vicious, it's going to be actually a low elimination game, right? You're looking at a total of 8 elims, which is not too bad in general, but I think that if they had maybe more teams surviving to the true late game, maybe they could have made even more use of the high ground of the bridge and farm a few elims here and there. But still, can't complain. That's Vicious. The Rondo, they made it very far, top 4, a lot of eliminations on the double peaks west of Stadium, and they do get another strong finish back-to-back. So it seems like that momentum has been building up, and they are meaning business here to wrap up the knockout stage.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, you know, they've come into this one, they're moving differently, right? They've sort of had that one moment of 12 hours after the game finished. They've splashed some cold water in their faces, gone, today, let's do even better. And they've come out really just hitting all of their shots. It's fun to watch, man. This is the Vicious that we were expecting, and they're delivering every time they're in the lobby. So I'm glad we're getting a lot more opportunities to see them playing today. Big game there.
Actually, 55 eliminations. So yeah, a lot of points were denied out of this match. Normally we get close to like the 60, 61, 62, depending on how many players are alive. So actually, yeah, you're talking about at least 6 eliminations being fully denied somewhat of that game, because it was only a trio of Vicious remaining at the end of that game. So actually quite an interesting stat for this time around. And also a lot of airdrops looted, despite not seeing a lot of airdrop weapons at the end of that game. So I'm surprised who did have those and where were they lost during the entirety of that match, as Narvalo will be representing France here, taking home the MVP of the game. And yeah, able to expand the Vicious empire in this game. I really want to... I know, Jackie, I sound like a broken record. I want to check out the leaderboards after every game because it's getting so close. Every game is just completely shuffling those top ranking positions.
Yeah, we're always keeping you guessing, which is nice, actually. I'm glad we're at a point, right, where there is room for these teams to kind of be rummaging their feathers and never quite decided. Sometimes we end up in a situation where it's like, top 4's kind of guaranteed. You know, that's it. We'll just sort of see how it ends, how many points they get. No, this time around, it's actually a bit more interesting than that, with some room for sort of, you know, 3rd and 4th place to potentially be shuffled out by some of our other teams. This is our overall breakdown of top players as well from that game. A little bit different here in terms of the faces that are going to be focused on. GOAT team having 2 of their representatives up in the top spot this time with Force and Ayato. You know, it does sort of feel like Force and Ayato have been stepping up a lot more for this team, where we had moments where Focus and basically, you know, Moxie as well were 2 players that were really big for this side. They've been a little bit quieter, so good to see those gaps being filled by the other members of the team, resulting here in the overall stats that we can see, the match rankings from that one overall. Let's have a look who did well in terms of the points. Okay, tied 13 then for TT and GOAT on that one. 11 points for Amix. So it does work out a bit better, Max. You know, like we were saying, that's more their bread and butter, right? Willing to go for fights.
But actually, there's so many points at the top of the rankings, meaning the teams on the second page are going to get very little work done in these matches. Yeah, so many teams actually with just 1.0 points. But yeah, looking at GOAT team in particular, really happy they got so many elims, and they kind of switched it up to 11 in terms of aggression. They were willing to take every single fight, but not only them, also Arcrate kind of chasing down, I believe it was Ozerox after their initial fight onto Metacore. So yeah, teams are getting very desperate for points, as here we have it, ladies and gents. It's going to be our overall rankings. TT Project, what a lead being created here. They're looking so comfortable. Is that 18 points ahead of Aurora in second place? They're going to be looking comfy to head into the grand finals. Followed up by then Aurora, Vicious jumping up 4 slots. So yeah, these games today have been looking spectacular for the Romanian squad. And now they've got 92 points. They can still slip on down based on a good result. But one thing we do have to keep in mind here, Jackie, GOAT team have one more match to play. It needs to be a big one. And I think that is the reason why they got so desperate and so aggressive these games, is because they know that clock is ticking fast.
Yeah, dude, this is really terrifying now when you look about the fact, right, that, yeah, sure, if you look at Champions' position now, slipping all the way down towards 7th, 86 points with 2 games left to play, that's still a viable timeline for them to really show us what they're made of once again and force their way back up. There's some other similar squads like Aurora as well. They're going to have the same idea. So for GOAT, with just 1 game left, they've been switching it on, but you need even better than that going into that last match if they want to show us their top 4 material, which, by the way, would be an unbelievable storyline considering where they came from, right? They donned this sort of huge meteoric rise in the Club Open. They had us very excited. Now, if they get top 4 off of Knockout here, mate, I'd be blown away by this team. It would be a ridiculous feat for them.
Yeah, you need to keep GOAT team on their toes if you want to see some really big pop-off performances, which you've seen, as you said, back in PMGO Eastern Europe, and we've seen it right now in this knockout stage for EECA. So really impressive gameplay from the entirety of the squad. In particular, Ayata, right? He was kind of the nade master back in Eastern Europe, and he's kind of bringing something very similar here. But he's not just relying on his utility. His aim has been really top tier in some of these engagements. So will GOAT team be able to actually qualify? I would say, if they want to look comfortable after this match, Jackie, for them, I'm going to have to see a top 3 double-digit eliminations, if not possibly maybe even a chicken dinner, bringing them up to over 20, 25 points. Otherwise, you got Vicious, you got DG77, you got Aurora that are going to play, you got Champions that are going to play. Those are teams that are not going to go down without a fight.
No, they're not. They're not. And I was trying to think back towards more consistently, sort of in terms of how they were playing map-wise. It felt like it was your Rondos, your Erangals, where they were better in terms of their form. I don't remember if their Miramar, and specifically in the Club Open, was actually as powerful. It felt like that's where it started to slip a little bit. And this is a way harder lobby to be able to snatch a chicken dinner or even a top 3 placement game. So, yeah, maybe Miramar might be a stone too far. But, hey, it'd be a hell of a feat. If they could come out on this one and do something unthinkable, you know, get a chicken dinner on it, Max. Mate, what a dream that would be for that team, right? You imagine they'd go to bed very happy tonight.
I do believe, if you remember, there was a good finish west of Impala in the fields where they got really late into the game. I don't remember if it was actually a win, but I think they got top 3, top 4 off the back of that. So they have had, in the past, some decent Miramar results, though it was a little bit inconsistent. But this is the time to hit the nail on the head, hopefully get a good result, because it would be good to see this GOAT team that we have today, Jackie, in the finals. I would be genuinely happy if they can make it that far.
Yeah, exactly. I think, you know, there's a lot of people that are probably new fans of this team, as are we, from what we were impressed by back in Eastern Europe with the Club Open. So, hey, fingers crossed for them. It's now or never, because we're right back in. No downtime, no break needed. Miramar begins. So, let's head into our 3rd game of the day here for Knockout Day 3. Like we said, right, this is their last match to be played. 12 games in total, and then your run is done. So everyone has to bring their A game today. We'll get that group shuffle with the other teams coming in preceding this for our last matchups today. So if you've got anything to show us, do it here and do it now.
Maybe I would have liked to break, you know, because there's too much top tier action happening all the time. I need a bit of a breather, but the teams apparently don't want any. They're just loading up in these lobbies so fast. It's some of the fastest, actually, down periods between games I've had so far in PUBG Mobile Esports this year. We do have a hot drop happening. It's going to be Metacore versus Afterlife. And I think Afterlife, after going out very early last game, I think it was versus 27 plus West. of Boatyard. I would say they're out of the count for me when it comes to the race to 4, top 4. That 0.0 really hurt them, but they're committed to the fight onto Metacore. And Metacore, apparently, people are just trying to bully them. Early game, Jackie. They're just being chased down. Earlier was Ozrox. This time it's going to be Afterlife. They just can't catch a break on these matches. As Misha here put very low once more at the early stages of this fight. And Metacore actually a decent setup to the west of El Azahar. Got so many off angles. If you are Afterlife, you've got to be a bit cautious here. This is not going to be an easy fight to commit to.
No, this is where it gets immediately a little bit scary. Obviously for Afterlife, I think it's a shame. You know, we were touching on the fact that they kind of had a similar good start coming into Knockout, where I was thinking maybe they could do something, maybe they could force themselves up. Unfortunately, that big sort of boom for them has been taken away. But hey, you don't want this to fall into a position where they're just going to go out early. Although Meta might have other ideas in mind. They get the opening knock off onto them and are able to put one player down in the dirt early. And that's Windy as well, a key player. Even thinking from a more sort of selfish level, Max, outside of just the team, for the individuals, for Windy, with the topic of who's going to be sort of the star MVP rookie player of the knockout stage, he was always our top bet. But with him kind of having a lot of his opportunities to shine bright taken away, I bet that's eating away at him as well. So maybe there's a chance here the team steps back up and won't go down to Meta, but it's not looking great. You've already lost a single player. Rest of the team fragmented, and you're trying to roam around to contain this one. Cyrex might be able to clothesline them. Tiger's going to get one man back up and turn his attention with a UMP onto Zixi. Oh, this is such a weird fight.
Yeah, I don't like El Azahar fights. It's a very weird compound to maneuver your way through. You've got so many buildings that have off angles, especially just metal walls that are so hard to defend. As Metacore, there you go, kind of cornered for 2 of the members inside of this one singular room. They're down also on bullets, 26 bullets left on the AKM, but it will be enough apparently for Tiger. That's it, able to find himself 1 member, down to even a second. Ooh, Afterlife are just falling so easily to the hands of Metacore. Final member going to be chased. Trying to play a bit of parkour here, make his way through. Does take a lot of damage. Ravo had a good fight earlier today on Rondo, but it's just going to be so much harder to execute versus a duo. Oh, but he's not able to be eliminated just yet. There you go. The jump shot comes out. He will get flushed, and so will the entirety of Afterlife. That went on for way longer than I expected for Ravo, so well done on the movement tech, but it will not be working out for him versus Metacore. Up to 4 eliminations, so you know what? Maybe able to escape that last place at the end of today.
Yeah, perhaps, which, I mean, at least even, I suppose, just for the individual mental game, would be a little bit better. It doesn't mean too much in the grand scheme of the situation, but hey, sometimes you want to at least end the day with something to be happy about, so see if they can get themselves off of that bottom place position, right?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up a topic because you were talking in the midst of that fight in El Azahar about Rookie MVP award, talking about Windy.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a fall-off.
Let's get into it, man.
Do we have other members actually could be taken away from Windy that has been definitely not performing up to par in the last few matches, especially yesterday? One that comes to mind for me at least would be the likes of Force of Go Team, that in particular day 2, absolute banger from him. I think he got a 7 elimination game at one point. I think he could be on the cards to get the rookie award for himself. Do you have anyone else in mind?
That's not a bad shout, you know. I think it's hard with Goat Team because it's weirdly compared to Afterlife, where Windy seems to be the star of the show. Goat Team feel like it's more they can kind of pass the baton, right? Like you say, Force had a big day there, but is that going to happen repeatedly is more my worry for him having a chance at the title. So it feels like they all do pass it around. Like, especially Moxie was someone that was a big deal for them when we were watching them previously. Ayato at times, the utility. So it makes it a bit harder. It feels like it's more diluted. Outside of that, I can't really think of anyone that's massively stood up as like a consistent, ooh, that's an MVP rookie player, you know? So yeah, I think you're right. It might actually go down to, with Afterlife faltering and falling off now in their last few games, possibly a GOAT Team player being in that conversation.
Yeah, GOAT Team, Arcred, but Arcred's got some big names. Actually, I checked out Force's Wikipedia page real quick. He's been playing since 2023. So actually, the big thing, we got to define what is a rookie.
What is a rookie? Yeah.
We don't
is that
know.
What is the stipulation for that? I suppose could that account for if you made it through the Open qualifier? Does that still count? Do you have to have not attended a global? Is there a rule set for it?
Yeah, exactly. Which we don't know, right? Or is it just voted by just a jury of people in the background that's running this event? Maybe. We'll have to see, but there's definitely a few contenders, but we'll be down to the wire in the final to see who will be securing the extra $500 for that award. Though back over to a few teams and how they're going to be moving their way deeper and deeper in this match of Miramar is going to be a quick rotate from teams like KZ Esports. There's going to be SSC, and apparently that's going to be a nice back shot from player of DG77 with the M4. Nice headshot. And Yen instantly flushed on out. DG also, just like the likes of Vicious, GOAT Team, Arcred, have been getting so desperate. Every time they have an angle on anyone in these games, they just commit, they spray it down, they hit the shot, they get that elimination point. These are teams that really are making a push for the finals. And TC Project here, really, 114 points. They're looking comfortable. They can just try and really flex out at the end here, get a big game just to really solidify their spot for the grand finals. But I would say even then, even if they don't get a single point for the rest of today, I do believe TT Project should be our #1 team to make their way into the next stage.
Oh, yeah. Get themselves some extra bits and bobs here off the back of their plays on Miramar and see just how far they can thrust themselves in the competition. That's the question. Feels weird having a little bit of a quieter start to a game, Max. Even though, you know, sort of as the competition's gone on, it's got a little bit more reserve. Teams haven't been as sort of chaotic in the opening sort of 10 minutes. But this one in particular on Miramar giving us a moment to breathe, which feels weird today with how many fights we've had. It feels like the Elim feed's just always going off.
It has been. I mean, yeah, especially here you had El Azahar, a few members getting eliminated, KZ Esports taken down by one member from a player of DG77. So just got to be a little bit careful here because teams are getting a bit desperate. If they see you, they might just not play the passive approach. They might actually look to play a bit more aggressive as Circle goes hard to the west. It's going to be incorporating areas of San Martin, or actually not just areas, the entirety of San Martin, also Hacienda del Patron and Water Treatment. We did have a very similar circle here. I believe it was day 1 of Knockout, Jackie, and we did see actually the win go the way of SSE dead center on that warehouse. We had Aurora Gaming also trying to make a mad dash at the very end and get that win. So SSE, unfortunately for them though, their gifted compound on that game is not available. It's going to be taken up by, I think it is, a 2-man split of Destined to Rise. So they could be looking pretty strong this game as Ozorox looking to encroach on the terrain of DG77. But DG falling like flies. It's going to be really tough to defend. Leon here swapping on over to the ASM Abacan, getting some good damage. The movement tech is crazy. And that is going to be it. DG77 in 4th place, leaving an opening here for the grand finals that could be taken away by the likes of GOAT or even Arcred this match.
That was really nice, by the way. Like you highlight there, the actual chicaning he was doing with the crouch spam intermittently to throw them off and then just getting that lean in for the pickup. Wow. Okay, yeah, so DG77 thinking they had the upper hand on that one, but no. Ozorox, the Serbian side, going to be saying Vala as they take themselves that one. That's thank you in Serbian, Max. Getting those points for free.
Learning Serbian with Jackie, Chapter 1. We'll see. Every day we need a new Serbian word from you, Jackie. I'll be waiting.
Yeah. It's all right. I've spent many a time. Yeah, Vala. It's like, I've spent many a time in Belgrade. Whoa! Beautiful place. Oh, some beautiful shots, though. As these fights continue. Okay, here we go. Now we're starting to reach a bit of a fever pitch on it. I mean, Arcred, the fact that they do get through that one with Glory now having to very quickly get everyone back up. Oh, he's antsy as well. He spotted them in the distance. He knew GOAT were coming, and it spooked him. He's just absolutely bailed on the pickup play initially. Tried to move them with a vehicle, going to get the players further back. But yeah, that got a bit more scary for him. So no escape, no survival.
Oh, they got confirmed actually. Oh, it's blue with the M4 able to confirm Glory. So that is it. Yeah. In the distance, you have GOAT just Oh,
yeah.
I smell elimination points. Oh, send it. And it almost could have worked out, but no, it's going to be Ozorox able to put the nail in the coffin, eliminating the entirety of that squad. So yeah, Arcred out. Sure. Actually, we didn't really talk about it. Able to confirm a few more points, able to snatch away 4th place from the hands of DG77. That's going to be very important. But now, GOAT, you have the perfect, and I really mean the perfect setup to make a climb here in the rankings, overtaking the likes of DG77, Arcred, maybe even champions that are not playing this game. So this is along the line. GOAT, if they can get a high elimination game, this could be their ticket for the grand finals being secured early on.
It's kind of the ideal scenario, right? If we see a lot of these points being early game, at least, infighting between the lower ranked teams, with some of our teams in the upper echelons falling out and not getting anything from it, then yeah, their eyes are going to be lighting up, thinking, okay, all we've got to do is just take a couple elims, coast towards a big finish, see if we can get a nice few points out of this, go out on a high. We're talking about the fact if they can just have a decent chunk of elims and a chicken dinner on it, it would be the dream. This is a fight, though, that they need to win as they go head-to-head versus Avalanche. We see the first knock onto them. Meanwhile, we've got the POV on screen here of the Vicious that fight uphill. This is the battle we're getting excited over, though. Tommy closing in onto GOAT as Force will keep himself moving. Can Tommy deal damage with a UMP? Peeks over the top side. Force is knocked over. Moxie, usually good in these kind of moments where he's got to thrive in the chaos, but do not let your teammates go down. One by one, they're picking them off, and the chances for GOAT are all being taken away. Oh, it's a brutal outcome. Avalanche in 16th place deny the chance that GOAT can get anything from this game.
Teams getting too desperate for these eliminations and just getting involved in fights that are just not working out for them whatsoever. Arcred, DG77, GOAT team, all taken out of the equation this match. So now other teams that normally we would say are somewhat out of reach of top 4, like 777, SSC, could be maybe looking to make a mad dash at the end and overtake some slots of GOAT, DG77, and Arcred. So yeah, a lot of new teams here to focus on this match. The circle is not going to be kind to some of these Eastern teams. And I'm actually surprised we did see the entirety of GOAT here kind of fully commit to the fight versus Avalanche. They lose some members. You should just try and send your whoever survived at that point into the zone and just get some placement points, a few eliminations, because it could be down to a tiebreaker because it's so close in the top 6 as of right now. And yet they committed. So I think this is a moment where GOAT just got to be a little bit more respectful of the lobby and try and count their lucky stars in situations like that. But it was just not going to work out on Miramar. And actually, looking at the leaderboards, right? We talked about team like GOAT. This was their last game, Jackie. Now that I actually realize it. Yeah. So actually, they are fully out of the race for top 4. That is going to be them having to fight their way through in the last chance.
Yeah, that's the brutal part, mate. That's what I was saying. Like, it was kind of the perfect setup, right? Where the teams above them that were snatching away the chance of denying any entry into the top 4 were down and out. The bottom teams were infighting. All you had to do was play this one with a big result. But no, Miramar curses them. Avalanche as well. It's so unfortunate, right, that the team that take you out probably aren't even going to gain anything from that. Although here, they might ruin some more teams' day. They crash into Ozorox that have been playing a good one thus far. So they take the fight straight to the Serbian Super Squad and do deal some decent damage. Bit of a battle back from Metacore as well, as they have been really consistently being attacked today by every team in the lobby. But they're not rolling over easily. That's the difference. They're actually fighting back when these teams come a knocking now. So a lot kicking off here. Many squads trying to fight over a small space. And it's resulting in multiple picks on either team. So you're losing firepower.
I mean, fighting over a small space that's not even in the play zone, so there's even less value when you really think about it. And looking at 777 actually on the minimap, you can see on the top right side of your screen, they were surrounding the entirety of Avalanche and Metacore. So because this is a team that right now above them, GOAT are eliminated, DG77 are eliminated, Arcred are eliminated. Who knows, if they get an absolute banger performance, 777 could also join the race for the grand final slots. So do keep an eye out for this team. Looking at the squads that are in the zone, though, we do have squads that are looking really comfortable, such as A-Mix. In the center, you're going to have the likes also of Motion, the Polish team, TT Project. I feel like at this point, every time we look at TT Project in the mid-game, they're always in such a good position. The IGLing is 10 out of 10 stuff from this squad. And in their current position, wouldn't be surprised if they make it to top 5, unless they get breached, which could be happening. But if they don't, top 5 should be the bare minimum expected from TT Project. They're going to be looking to build even bigger of a lead for themselves in first place. So that's going to be a little bit hard to beat because this team is just looking too consistent every single game.
Yeah, consistency has been key, and they've certainly got that. They've been locking it down time and time again. That is the end of the Avalanche run, though, again as well here. So 6 elims, of course, the big takeaway being the fact that they're able to ruin the day for GOAT team. So a little bit of spice added into their run, but nothing major in terms of them moving up the standings. Bad boy, again, for Ozorox, still being able to find room to be a little bit of a nuisance in this game. Warrior sets up on the roof side with the AUG in hand towards the rocks. He's got a good line of sight down towards that gas station to keep the pressure on Ozorox. But everyone's just scrapping from different angles. Wide split from 777. So if Metacore peek up, they'll be shot in the backside. Everyone's just kind of trying to keep their heads down for a second here.
When you're talking about the gas station of Ozorox, it's really hard to keep your cars in working condition over there. It's really not easy to find a good hiding spot for them. So I think that they might not have an easy exit out of the gas station. They're looking at Metacore, also in a very similar situation, losing most of their members down to only a solo. It's going to be Tiger behind this monster truck. He's got a first aid. He's got a first aid and 15 bandages, so definitely can look to tank a bit of that phase 4 blue damage. But it's about to go into phase 5, so that's going to be some big damage coming up very soon. Pulling the trigger on some of those bandages, I believe, just to buy some time. And he's just hoping 777 just lose interest and exit the vicinities entirely. But Warrior, he's locked. He does not want to give up on that one here, Jack. He just wants that elimination onto Tiger as he goes back into hiding inside the warehouse. And he did use the first aid, meaning only 12 bandages to work with. I think the idea for Tiger is to deny that point down to the blue.
Yeah, I think so. It makes sense, right? No reason to kind of just feed that to a different team. You know you're not going to be able to achieve anything from this. So survive for as long as possible, up your average stats on it, and then give your life up to the blue. So say goodbye to Metacore. 7 elims, though. Not the worst run for them. It's mainly just because teams kept coming at them. They were basically the dinner bell that was being rung, but able to withstand against most of those fights. So fair play. Down towards the bottom end of the standings. They will exit this one with a few more points to take home. Destined to rise, getting shot at from Amix in the back line. Amix yet to get themselves an elim point on this game. Is this where they find a chance to collect some? D2R set up with lots of cover, so although there are eyes on their angle, they should be all right to keep themselves tucked in. Few of the vehicles, though, looking pretty beaten. You can see the vehicles are taking so much damage. Tires popped. They don't have much room on this one. They want to get out of this death trap of an alleyway they're in. But how easy is that going to be with 27 plus watching their position?
3 of the players inside one vehicle, the only one that was in working condition. As you said, the rest just got completely shattered to pieces. Gonna have to go see the mechanic after this game. D2R gonna be able to find a slight low ground next to 27 plus. But yeah, this exit was just so hard to execute. I had no hope whatsoever to begin with, and it seems like exactly what happened. 27 plus able to win 3 eliminations off the back of that. I think one maybe was snatched away by the hands of Amix. As now 27 plus, good high ground position, able to play around it, though they're not going to be favored by phase number 6 unless an insane hard shift happens to the west. So this is going to have to put them in a bit of a dire situation. Down to 8 teams, meaning placement points are going to start to bleed through in this game for every single squad that remains. Really good to see for the likes of Vicious, TT Project, Amix, SSC, and especially 777 that have got 3 elims, so they're able to close that gap between themselves and GOAT team. And actually, looking at 777, they are going to be playing every single game today, meaning these last 2 matches on Arangua and Miramar, they could be looking to make a push at the top. The very last finishes of this knockout stage. As I say that, unfortunately, Warrior 6 are going to get picked off for 777. This is not looking too good for the squad.
No, not at all. Sad state of affairs thus far, with you losing a ton of your potential firepower and being forced to invest an awful lot of your supplies to attempt to recover if they even do find a moment of respite to pick themselves back up here. So trapped in a bit of a risky position, with Ozorox potentially being able to fully collapse onto them and clean house. They could mop them up and take them for the extra points they are. Meanwhile, Star Soldiers X-Epic with the shots up. They're going to see what more they can steal from this. Mini 14. Is it going to be good for the quick tap? No one revealing their head long enough for that to be delivered yet, so no payload off the back of it. 27 plus. They've been sat on this hillside for so long, making it uncomfortable for anyone else that does come by them. They will eventually be forced to move, though, and you've got a couple squads that could light them up. I mean, as you're driving your way down, it'll be motion in position. The Vicious could get sight lines as well. Curious to see how this one's going to go.
Mano might just be trying to use the role of cover fire for his teammates as they try and make their push down into the valley. Could be a good cover fire play, as 27 plus, they have to make the push, they have to commit, and it's going to be sending it onto motion. The Polish team, will they be able to successfully defend their compound? That is going to be the question of the hour. Tapok going to be the final member, joining up a little bit late, but you know what? They still got 2 players alive. Actually, as I say that, 2 of the members get instantly taken on out. That's going to be a knock and a flush, but Luxus is looking good with the DBS, but it's just not meant to be. 27 plus, dropping out once again early on this game, getting 3 eliminations and 1 placement point, but it's just not going to be enough to really get so much high on the rankings. Star Soldiers X-Epic, also good send, able to make it down onto the low ground. Off the back of that, TT Project, they're looking your direction. They are not going to let you survive. TT Project could be looking for a huge chicken dinner here to end their knockout stage run.
Yeah, dude, they'd be good for it as well, man. You know, consistency has been such a big part of this team. Even back from recalibration, they would decide we were saying they're playing just some good mechanical PUBG Mobile. They don't give a damn what anyone else is doing. They stick to their guns. They play their own game. I was thinking Silence, you know, he'd be a lamb to the slaughter, but somehow, some way, he's being this nuisance maker. He baits the full engage from Ozorox running towards him. So the solo man there, trying to get it done, just leaves himself exposed to the backline. They go down with Bad Boy being finished off, I believe, by Amix finally being able to get another pickup. That's their 5th elim now. So in about the space of about 4 minutes, they've gone up to 5 elims. Ked's on fire, burning in the building, tucks himself into the corner, quickly tries to get the bandages in. They will give him time. So the Vicious are moving on him, though, Max. Can he hold off with the SMG?
This ain't CS. The smokes don't get rid of Molotovs. They're still going to be going absolutely all over the place here on this wooden floor. But Ked will be able to heal up successfully from that encounter. So not too shabby indeed, as, yeah, the members are just going to be fully stuck. The thing is, if you do have one good nade, which we saw earlier from Vicious, right, on their fight, Western Bridge on Erangel, they know how to nade these kind of areas. One good nade, you could be looking for very easy double knock, as Ked just maneuvering his way throughout the entirety of this building there. They're not in circle, by the way. Half of this building is going to be in the blue in the next 20 seconds. So Ked, the entirety of motion, they got to go for the push. They need to try and engage. The nade is on the money. That's going to be icy again. As I said, they know how to hit these pieces of utility. The pinpoint accuracy is there from Vicious, and that is going to be the end of the line. Vicious showing that they've made their homework when it comes to these Miramar compounds and will be claiming all of the western terrain as their new empire.
Oh, mate, it feels like they've done their homework and research for every battleground in the pool, right? Doesn't matter where they are on the map. Yeah, like their understanding of the geometry is just so damn good for fights. It makes it way easier. Any encounter they go into, they've always got a big leg up. And it pays off again here. So Vicious looking great today. Let's see then if they could actually turn this one into a chicken dinner. It'd be a hell of a feat. Kind of feels like it's them and TT Project, right, that are vying for a big win on it, with maybe Amix in a position to maybe try and steal something away. This is one of those games where Amix come alive. I don't know why. You can just see them bubbling into it the longer it goes. Utility being thrown out for Kavik. He's going to try and get himself a setup with some sort of cover. Warrior trying to run back towards his mate. The vehicle goes in to close the gap. Therefore gets attacked by the Vicious. It's a 1-for-1 trade as Spike takes down Icy in the meantime. And TT Project are being baited out of the building as well. Ooh, they will get the spray down onto FreeTN and at least remove him with effect shutting on it. But can Warrior do anything to ruin their day?
He did it early on Rondo, right? He was able to actually buy so much time, snatch away a second place from the hands of DG77. But here, top 5 is all he shall get. 3 eliminations headed the way of 777. Now down to 3 teams that are looking so strong this game. It's going to be 4v4v4. Amix versus Vicious versus TT Project. And Vicious, I would say here, even if they do get a chicken dinner here, Jackie, they could be also securing early on their ticket for the grand finals of PMGO EECA. Along the line, Narvalo looking to regroup on his teammate of Doran. The ridge used up by Kvik is going to be strong. Will be also in the zone. Also, look, if you look at the map feed, so much of this cliff to the east is available for Amix, and yet they get spotted out by the high ground of Effect. That elevation is looking so strong. Amix finally realized they can send it over to the eastern edge. It took a bit too long, but you know what? They do get there eventually. And losing a member might make it a bit harder to commit to the fight. But look, they're fighting each other right now. Vicious left over chilling to the west, could be looking for back-to-back chicken dinner if the timing on this third party is right.
Yeah, they're going to be completely forgotten about effectively. And like you say, they set themselves up to get that massive injection of points all over again. They could firmly put themselves as the champions of this leaderboard off the back of this game. If they get 2 chicken dinners, it would be a hell of a feat from them. And it goes to show why this team's been looking so bloody impressive. But it's quieted down somewhat, at least, in that encounter between Amix and TT Project. I was thinking with normally how Amix basically get this sort of bloodlust and just commit to a fight if they're tested, that they wouldn't give it up. But instead, they've created a little bit of space between them. They invest the utility. You got this 3-prong setup on the ridge side with the vehicles to play with. One of the buggies is smoking, but they can try and get a bit more coverage on the ground if they need to. Vicious are on the move. They don't hold strong to their position. They instead go for the wrap around. TT Project do peek and get info on it. That's a shot into the side of Default, though, that will knock him. And that's actually out of the barrel of Koa's weapon. So the Vicious do want to be involved on this one. They're being proactive.
Thing is, they're getting pushed out in the open, which with the elevation of Effect, he's on the balcony of Longhouse. This is going to be, so even Effie's is up there on the other balcony. It's really hard to survive in the open. Again, this is a circle where you wish you had the cover flares of Rondo. This would make it so much easier for Vicious to survive in this open-ended finish. The circle is phase 8, meaning phase 9 is going to be out in the open. It's going to be moving away from every single team, away from Amix, away from TT Project, away from Vicious. Actually, if you can get access to that central shed, this wouldn't be too bad of an angle for Icy. He's going so far. He's going so deep. It's so risky. And he might just get punished. He's on a slither of HP here. And he will not have any backup. That's going to be 1 member down for Vicious. Down to Dorian Cora and Narvalo. But the car is set up in the open. Could use as a decent line of defense. As Niels has got the angle also below the car. Going to hit the feet of Narvalo. The smoke will keep him alive a little bit longer this fight. Though the blue has decided otherwise. They got 2 minutes and 30 seconds to work with, while Amix is just chilling massively to the eastern cliff.
Trying to make their way around. Ooh. Few shots back over. That's somehow a perfect lineup for Effect onto Doran. He's got the angle off from the slight elevation they've got to play with. Havlik as well, eating shrapnel. So what looked like a good setup with the Vicious being able to coast it out long term, well, that's been taken away due to the direct engagement of TT Project. Now we fall into our final head-to-head for first place then, and it's looking good for TT to actually upset over Amix here. The nades are on target. Default burned to a crisp. He's sent off to the Burns ward. Spike's being tapped by the zone. Sees Zerich. He drops down to the ground. On the re-peak, though, Spike will hit heavy with the M4. Neos with a UMP. They're trying to close the gap on him, hit him from the side, but it's just not working. Amix withstand everything that's thrown at them and look like they want to take this chicken dinner by force unless Effect can do something nasty. Turns up to the party with a shotgun, and in the bitter moments of that game is able to lay the hammer down. TT Project grab it by the skin of their teeth.
The TT Project effect in full display here on the dusty dunes of Miramar. Not an easy wrap-up here. They were trying to just delay the fight with the likes of Amix and Vicious, but the zone was just slightly more closer to them when it comes to the exact center ending of that match, and effect in particular. What a finish. The accuracy on his shots was just through the bloody roof, and that successful defense, really, the moment they won this game was not at the end of that match. It was really when they successfully defended their compound against the likes of 777. So yeah, again, macro-wise, this team is just crazy, Jackie. I have no better way to put it. The early game macro, where they just get access to these really strong central positions, they stay there until the bitter end of these games and use their firepower to overwhelm in the finishing moments to get these chicken dinners. Man, oh man, this is a team that not only will be securing their spot for the grand finals here, I would go to say, Jackie, I would even say could be looking to win the entire tournament, because this team is looking mad consistent every single bloody game.
They look amazing. They look amazing. It's the fact that it's even on the smallest scale, right? If we take a vertical slice of their plays, every time it's a compound crash, every time it's clearing out, in a fair fight even, Max, when it's a head-on-head, full squad versus full squad, the way they approach these encounters, the utility is perfect, the trades are perfect, the comms between one another, it never looks like they're scared. So yeah, terrifying stuff, some really big signs of life from them. Can't wait to see what the Vicious can do towards the end of their run. And hey, if they do guarantee themselves that top spot with how they've played, how bloody good they're going to be looking when we get into the actual finals in a few days' time. For now, though, let's give our flowers over to TT Project, that, again, have been another side that have been able to play smart, strategic PUBG Mobile, and that's been winning them games.
Yeah, also so much damage across the board. Even though only one elimination for FEs, he was playing on top of the balcony of Longhouse. So he was getting so much overview, oversight, and intel on where the teams were. He truly became the Eye of Sauron alongside Zerich when it comes to getting some intel on these teams. So really loving the overall macro aspect of their gameplay. Looking also at the match summary, a few stats for you guys at home who might find this interesting. But yeah, at the end of the day, keep in mind that this was the last game of TT Project. That's going to be the cherry on top to wrap up their stage of knockout. Though that means Aurora, they're playing Vicious, they're going to be playing DG77, Arcred, Champion. All of these teams will be joining the fray in these final two matches on Erangel and Miramar back-to-back. Can they hold on to that crown here, Jackie? Can they maintain that number one position? It's going to be tough, but they do create a bit of a gap thanks to that chicken dinner to end it off.
God damn. Yeah, deserved stuff. And of course, the MVP there from our winning team being Effect. Let's have a bit of a closer look at his statistics with how he's played. 730 damage, 4 elims, good for the assists as well. And that pure survival time with them being able to make it all the way to the win on that chicken dinner. He was good in the clutch as well, Max. And that's something that obviously sometimes isn't really represented in the stats. But with how he played, even when some teams would falter, right, when the pressure's really on, he didn't crumble. He turned into a diamond.
And look at, oh yeah, man, Effect had an absolute bang on this one. Going to be your top player of the game with those 4 eliminations, followed up by them Bad Boy, player of Ozrox. You don't see that happening too often, even for Metacore. Oh, we got Tiger here from that team, followed up by then Doran and Zerich. Can see that it's quite low on the lower side of these top players, meaning that a lot of different individuals got some elimination points throughout the entirety of this Miramar match. But by the way, real quick, before we do get into the overall storyline of this tournament, it feels so good seeing Zerich and Effect doing so well together, because early on in PUBG Mobile Esports, they were on the same team. They split apart. They're back together. And boy, oh boy, that duo is looking deadly on the battlegrounds of EECA as they secure 21 points here in this Miramar game.
Yeah, a huge earner there for them. And that's going to be the dream scenario, really. Remember the name, remember the faces, because they're looking ruthless. And if they can keep this up into finals, this could certainly be one of our more explosive teams when it comes to that strategic gameplay. Going to be fun to see, again, as well. Similar state of affairs, really, where towards the bottom ends of the standings, no one's really finding anything. There's not any good elimination distribution. There's not any easy easy points to achieve here. It's gotten far more intense. One of the sad scenes from that one as well, Max, of course, being the fact the GOAT team, realistically, we're going into this one saying they had a chance for greatness. Well, the result was far from it, right? You leave with nothing on that game, not even a single elimination point to their name. So, sad affair for them there. Let's see how it affects the overall ranking, though, as the Vicious move up into second position, 101 points. TT remain our top dogs, but now with a grand total of 135 points.
And still 2 more games to play here for Vicious, for Aurora, for Arcred, for DG77. As we already said, though, that is going to be the end of the line for GOAT. They will not be directly advancing to the grand final, so we'll see what they can do and pull off in the last chance. Same for also SSC that have played all of their matches here for the knockout stage. Though, the point gap is not big. Well, actually, what I'm saying is not big. It's actually non-existent. It's 4th place to 5th place. It's 89 points tied up between Arcred and DG77. It might be down to a tiebreaker after these next upcoming matches, but I think a bit of the focus today is going to be on the 2 teams that have yet to play, right, Jackie? It's going to be Aurora. It's going to be Champions. In particular, Champions, they're only... Well, actually, it's a 3-way tie. 89, 89, yeah. 89. So it's really, really close. But Champions, I'm going to put more of my emphasis on them. Do they have what it takes, especially with Kino that had a stellar performance so far to these last 2 days, to make that jump up? They need big games here. Otherwise, that top 4 dream might just be crushed.
Yeah, dude, could be a real twist in the narrative then, with our new teams coming back in. This is where it gets particularly spicy. Very excited to see what we get out of this. Aurora, you know, if they have that same play style that we got yesterday, whew, it could be a real turn in the narrative. But obviously Champions as well, right? They look like a great side, Max. So here's the big question. Do Aurora and Champions go back to what they were doing? The consistent magnet of fighting each other. If that happens, I'd be terrified.
Can we have one team drop, I don't know, Zaki, and one team like Aurora go down to the southern side? Please don't fight. It's just not worth it. But you know what's worth it? To scan this QR code right now and enter the code to get this Carnival Critter Thompson SMG skin for free. But you only have 75, so you better be quick, or otherwise you might just miss out on a cool Thompson skin. Ooh, get it right now. Here.
Exactly. First come, first serve. So I hope you had your phones on hand. If you were watching on your phone, probably best case was to take a screenshot when that was on screen. So that's knowledge for the future ones. But yeah, get that redeemed. Treat yourself to a nice new Tommy gun skin. Looked particularly pretty. But of course, we'll have some very vibrant games coming your way soon. 2 more actions here up for us after the break. So join us when the battlegrounds continue following this.
Start the war!
Bro, want to buy an account? Check it out. Conqueror tier, firearm finishes, and outfits are all available.
Nice account. I'll buy one. I'll go get the money first. Stay here. I'll be right back. All right, got the account. See ya.
Damn it, I've been scammed.
Buying an account might not get you the account, but you'll still lose your money.
You might not receive payment for selling your account, but you'll still lose your account.
It's all been happening today. The games have been very Maxim-esque. It's been what we've wanted to see, Max. Talk me through it. You've been enjoying it so far, mate? Intense action out there?
Oh, yeah, I had to stretch during that break because I got to get fully ready for the games that are yet to come. No, it's very exciting, right? So many teams were able to make a mad dash at the end to try and catch up to the top 4 slots for the grand finals. And some teams, unfortunately, did fail, will be reaching a very gloomy ending, such as GOAT team, for example, that tried their best but were not quite able to succeed. But 2 more games on the menu here, Jackie, is going to be Miramar and Erangel for groups A, C, D, and E, meaning officially Champions Esports and Aurora are going to be back on the battlegrounds, and you know that they are going to be meaning business here on these games.
Oh, they will indeed. This is what you've all been waiting for. I imagine the multiple Aurora and Champions fans that have been waiting until they get to play their first games today are finally really just rallying behind these teams. So let's see what they can do when we get into the battleground. Now, obviously, one of those big elements we were talking about that you'd hope will just be a joke, will just be a distant memory, is the fact that they've basically been a magnet for one another, Max. They seem to be drawn to each other and just scrap very early into games. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen here, because both of them obviously do have a viable chance of taking spots out of that top 4 with the 2 games they've got left. So let's see if they've got some good heads on their shoulders today.
It would be funny if they just kind of they get fed up with the fact they're always fighting. Like, let's just skip a few steps and just hot drop each other. Yeah, let's just do that. They're not doing it this game, but maybe on a wrangle, who knows? Things could get a little bit hectic on the final game of the knockout stage. They're actually not, again, they're pretty close, right? You got Aurora there inside of Chumacera, and then the trash loot west of Picardo, who's going to be held down by Champions 4-man split, as actually Picardo itself is going to be defended by DG77, so good central position early on this match. But looking then, of course, at the rotation of teams, just as a quick little reminder of what we have happening here, groups are going to be back in, meaning we are seeing Champions, we're going to see TGM, we're going to see Aurora, and we are going to see Mad Esports back in the fray for this time around. And the team that are not going to be playing are going to be the teams of Group B, meaning no TT Project, no SSC, no KZ Esports, and especially no GOAT team. They're going to have a bit of a rough break here, Jackie, I believe. They're like, we could have made it, but we committed to the fight to the east too much, and it did cause our demise at the end. So this is a team that I think is going to come back even stronger, learning from their blunder here today, going into the last chance stage.
I think so. Again, right, honestly, for what it's worth, taking top 4 for them would have been something remarkable. Like, we would have been blown away. We would have been so hyped about it. But logistically, with the teams we've got here, Max, should they be top 4? Probably not, right? That's not unfair to say. Like, this is such a really stacked lobby that someone would have had to have a hell of a bad day for them to be able to lap them all. At least they gave us a great display where we're not going into the following stage going, what could have been, if it would have been nice to see them playing like they did in the Club Open. No, they've done that. They've played some great PUBG Mobile. And if they can get into the finals from surviving through last chance, then yeah, you know what? I'll give them a fighting chance to be able to make a decent chunk of money. Winning it from a top 4 spot, though, that was always unlikely. So at least they still gave us something to be excited about. I don't think we can be too unhappy about the run they've shown us, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, genuinely, I'm going to set this up for you, Jackie. Tell me what you think. But looking at the performance of GOAT team, last chance, 16 teams playing, top 12 advance to the finals. Do we expect them to be at least top 12? I do. What about you, right?
100%.
It seems pretty obvious.
100%, man. I think, honestly, Max, I would go as far as to say I'm thinking they're going to be top 3 within that mix, easily.
Agreed. No, I agree. I would say top 5, top 3 is in my initial expectations for them going into the survival stage. Well, not I keep calling it survival stage. You could survival stage, last chance.
Last chance. It's all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
it's exactly the same kind
man.
of stage, just depending on what kind of scale of tournament you're in. But yeah, I do expect them to rank severely highly in that tournament, which currently I would not be expecting from a team like Amix. That I do think they could be doing it on an absolute peak day. They've just not been able to reach those heights in the last few days of gameplay, unfortunately. Though, El Azahar, it's going to be Mad Esports versus good old Metacore. And actually, you're looking at Mad Esports, I think a lot of people count them out here. They got 62 points. I'm not saying I'm expecting a comeback, but mathematically speaking, it's not impossible to see Mad do just a final push in the last minute and catch up to Arcred to DG77. So if they do win this flawlessly, get the early 4 eliminations, maybe we could be talking about them actually having a decent opportunity to make a push upwards. But of course, as I said, they do need to get the 4-piece and not lose a single member. So this is a bit of a risky fight to take when you are technically still in reach of those grand finals positions.
Yeah, but I feel like taking risks has been something this team are pretty willing to go for, weirdly enough, right?
Yeah.
They've never been particularly sort of risk-averse or kind of playing the more passive game. If there is an option to go for something that could ruin their life but also give them sort of 2 or 3 points, honestly, they'll probably take that opportunity. So we'll see if they get much from it. The crazy thing is, in most other situations, when it's normally that team that's at the bottom of the standings, right, that's kind of like the bully material, the fresh meat, where you're like, oh, okay, cool, we'll just go in, we'll dispatch them early, get some points, make out like bandits. But Metacore today, it's been kind of them in motion that you feel like should be losing a lot of these awkward fights that have been coming their way, and then they just ruin your life. And, well, in this instance, they're doing it all over again, Max.
I mean, yeah, they've done it to who? They did it initially on Erangel. It was on Ozerox. Now they've done it after that to Afterlife. Now they're doing it to Mad Esports. Yeah, Metacore. I think you stated it multiple times there, Jackie, during the entirety of this event, which is their team that's got nothing to lose, and they're being so willing to fight because they're just thinking, oh, what the hell? Why not? Let's send it. Let's commit. Let's maybe get some good clips for our Instagrams or TikToks. And right now they've got a few, actually. I think they might have a decent highlight to post on social media. So they could be very happy about their content coming up soon. But Mad did lose a member, instantly flushed out. And I think purely because of that one player getting taken out, top 4 race done already. I think 3 members on a Miramar, when every team, you're looking on the rankings on the right, fully stacked except for Metacore, it's game over.
No, it's just so much harder, right? It's unnecessary as well. Like, again, I do legitimately think it's one of those where for these teams, they are just thinking, oh, okay, Metacore at bottom, it should be easy. But for Metacore, this is also now probably a bit of an ego moment where, like, dude, people are just going to, like, run us down. We're going to get points off of them, but then also we're sending a message like, you can't just bully us. We're not going to be a pushover team going into the next stage of competition. Like, yeah, sure, we were at the bottom, but that doesn't mean we're the worst team in the lobby.
The thing is, I would love to talk to the players and just ask the question, look, you guys, you're in reach of top 4. You can technically qualify. What's your strategy? And they reply, hot drop. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? That's the worst approach to make it. You're taking a 50-50 gamble, and even then, it's not 50-50 because even if you win the fight, you might lose members, which is what has happened so far. So, yeah, genuine question mark from my end. Not sure what the reasoning is behind this hard early commit from Mad Esports, but you know what? They're going to keep on going for it, it seems. Well, then top 10. Technically, if this was last chance, they would qualify to the next stage, but for early on, this is not going to be looking too Gucci. As actually, another team to the west is going to be Afterlife. They've dropped it. They know this area like the back of their hand, Jackie. They're like, well, yeah, 3 points right now. And they do get himself a decent amount of points early on for free onto all of these stragglers in good old El Azahar.
And the thing is, that's quite a lot of stragglers, right? Because it's only really the one casualty. So that's still like 7 points that you could steal here. Is that Aurora getting attacked by the Vicious as well? Hang on a minute. That's one hard flush as well, Max. They've lost a single player there. Was that Top that went down straight away?
Oh, that would suck if it's... I didn't see the number. I just saw the logos. So I'm like, wait a minute. What's happening over there? It would suck to lose Top because, again, long range on Miramar, very important player to have that can actually play at the 300, 400 meter mark. Losing top, that's rough. That's really not what you want to see because he's so good with that Mini 14 and like M1 Garand that he's played. Sometimes, rarely here and there. So hopefully they can lick their wounds and come back even stronger upon their next encounter. I'm looking at the circle. You guys can't see it on the map, but we have a hard northwestern shift, which is going to be incorporating Crater Fields, El Pozo, and the eastern edge of Trailer Park and a portion of La Cobreria. This is very northwest for Miramar game. You don't see it happen too often, so teams are going to be pushed to their absolute limits as Afterlife cleaning up shop, getting 4 eliminations, and looking for the few remaining members of Mad Esports. Oh, yeah, it's so high up there. God damn. Ooh, okay,
that's
a lot of teams are going to be... yeah, they're going to have to try and fight all over El Pozo and Crater Fields, it seems.
God, okay. It's going to get a little bit spicier then with this one. Obviously, it's still going, by the way, down here with Mad and Afterlife. This feels like the longer it goes on, no one really wins. It's quite uncomfortable for them. Using so many of their supplies, you'd at least be able to restock off Mad, but they don't actually have that much. Nice arc on the nades. You bait out one down the stairway. Saravia can make the play with the DBS. Drop off the roof, though, with the Mac Daddy, and the SMG will slay into the back line. They can get themselves back up, though, so no one hard flushed for Afterlife there. They will make it out as a 4. So a couple points stolen, and they're back on the move.
I kind of want to... I wish we could see a replay of that fight. I believe a member of Afterlife threw meds up on top of the roof to kind of bait out a possible nade to try and force them out of their strong position. I think they were playing mind games. I'm going to rewatch it later. I wasn't sure, was it a flashbang or was it meds being thrown as like a bait play? That's very fun. I've never seen meds used in that way as like a fake grenade.
No, that's sick,
smoke.
like fake nade, yeah. Just because I imagine the heat of moment as well. You see it, you just think, oh, it's a nade. It's coming at me, you know?
Gotta run. Yeah, gotta... Yeah. Actually, that might be the reason why one of the players went down the staircase. It's like, oh, it's an nade.
Hey, that would make sense, yeah.
Ah, good way.
If so, that's a very cool detail.
Yeah, small things like that can really make a difference. It's fun to see teams really trying to use every single mechanic. We've seen it initially with the assist feature to get more elevation, and now you can throw meds right to some teammates, so you do have more usage than just throwing meds to teammates. You can fake out utility, which in this case actually worked out great in favor of Afterlife, so really cool strat.
No, that's awesome, man. By the way, we do get confirmation here. You can see we got the... I thought it was his name. So yeah, that's brutal, mate. This is obviously one of the maps where range is going to be far more of a boon for you. And basically, you know, top and DMRs, well, they go hand in hand, but he's just not going to be here. So we don't get a chance to see our man popping off coming into this one. And that's also a bit of an effect we can talk about in a similar styling for Champions, by the way. They went into a fight versus 27 plus max. They have basically been able to come out on top, but they've lost one player, so down to a trio there for Champions as well. So both of our big Mongolian squads down to only 3 players in about the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, battered and bruised early on this game. Not looking too good for Mongolia this match, but still 3 members, not impossible, especially because of this circle. You've got a lot of teams heavily focused around the southern or even eastern edge. So if you want to go as a trio for wide western or even northern map to just kind of get away from these early skirmishes, I wouldn't hate it. So I would love to see some teams attempt to make that just kind of safer transition. Very similar to what we've seen in the past from the likes of TT Project. I think that this is a right time to pull a TT Project-like rotation if you want to survive deeper and deeper in this Miramar game. Though, El Pozo, you can see on the minimap, it's not in the zone, meaning all these teams, you've got DG77, you've got the likes of D2R, Vicious 2-man split, Aurora are going to be in here. I would say not worth fighting. If you can get in the car and leave, that would be great. But Amix have a different plan in mind as they're going to be shooting down Darling from a distance. That's a really long-range shot on the mountain of Crater Field. So really good presence from Amix, looking to be the true gatekeepers of the entirety of the El Pozo City finish.
I actually wouldn't be surprised as well if this is where we do get a big Amix game. It feels like this is a team that really can do a ton of damage in terms of good elims in the early game and then great finishes on a map like Miramar. They were doing it pretty consistently in the Club Open. Something about the actual distance of the fight seems to just play to their strength, where they kind of work quite nicely. So if that happens again here, this could be a big map for them. We'll see, though. It's early doors. Obviously, only about 12 minutes into the action here, so a lot of room for this one to change hands. That's 777 again engaging onto Champions. champions. They've had another knock, so one casualty there, with it only being a trio as well, and I believe it's Demo. Yeah, it is. That's actually quite a big player for them that's been pretty helpful in playing off angles and more advanced to sort of lock down angles. Your real raw firepower, though, that tends to come in the form of Kino, and he's still alive, closes the gap up close with a shotty and puts some nice damage on the 777. They're getting collapsed upon as well. That's Afterlife Max diving in. They've spotted blood as they wrap around. You get some shots up into the back line here. It could get pretty intense now with everyone being able to guard the edge of the zone on this rotate.
Yeah, Afterlife just saying, this is not worth my attention whatsoever. We're just going to be putting a bigger emphasis on getting into the play zone. So yeah, good move forward. Afterlife looking to play for the long game. As 777 and Champions, though, kind of locked in this skirmish, in this kind of engagement. And trying to butt heads here. It's going to be a decent bit of damage. 777 down to just 3TN. Overwhelmed, pushed over the ridgeline. They does get a knock of his own, but it's going to be Kino, as you said here. The main firepower of this team is looking good. It's looking strong. We'll be able to get the reset on this teammate of Demo. But the blue zone will be pushing forward, going to be using up a bit more of their resources. And even then, Avalanche are looking in their direction. So at this point, you've got to put your player in the car. And he can't even do that. He dies in his arm. This is movie-worthy right now, as Champions, as a duo, will look to push into the zone and survive as a duo.
Meanwhile, you can see the Vicious completely ripping their way through, of course, everyone there on Aurora and making it brutal for them. So it's only Joel. He's off in a different angle. With Default coming up round the back line with the rest of Amix eventually on their later rotate in, now handling the encounter they were thrown towards. This could be pretty spicy the longer it goes on. Vicious as well, going to be content so far with being able to get themselves those 4 safe elims without losing a single player. So a late game finish still being the mindset for them. Whereas for Champions, the points they've got early, yes, they're good, but how far do they go outside of that? If they fall out from this point, there could still be room for some of the other squads like DG77 and ARG to try gain extra points on this one and push ahead of them. So a lot of moving pieces right now. Butcher spotted on the flick up. He's going to take some bullets up range as Windy fires shots onto him.
By the way, as you talked about Champions, clearly here as a duo, you do want to try and play it hella passive. If you see any team just go the other way, you do have in this area a lot of really strong dips and cliffs to work with that can really keep you alive, keep your heart beating so much further on the line of this match on Miramar. So I think that we do need to see a very, very slow and passive Champions, because looking at position on the rankings, they're in top 4. They're currently the entry points for the grand finals, meaning a lot of attention is going to be thrown their way from the likes of Arcred, DG77, 777, and even Mad Esports in the next game to wrap up the knockout stage. So they can't afford to get 0 placement points. They need to survive even just extra 4 teams, outlive them. You get an extra placement, that could be looking good. The tiebreakers could be coming through. As Afterlife, a little bit of elevation here, actually looking quite solid for Zixi, Windy, and Ravo. Especially good spray control at any kind of range. Ravo in particular in that fight in El Azahar was looking mighty impressive. But Butcher, he's right above them. I'm not sure how aware they are of Butcher's location. He's been camping up here for a while now. And yes, I did use the C word. You're not supposed to, but he is camping. He's waiting. And might just get a good nade. If he's got 1 nade here, Jackie, that could be a really good elimination onto Afterlife if he does have, again, that kind of resource available.
I mean, hey, man. Butchers seem to have a bit of plot armor in some of the fights we've had from him. So if Afterlife do give him a slight sliver of an opportunity, he'll probably grab onto it with both hands. For that team, they don't want to over-egg things. They've been pretty good in terms of their overall consistency. Obviously, breaking into the top 4 is kind of out of the question, but at least still giving yourself some extra confidence and making other teams aware of your names. They don't feel like they can push you around into the next stage. Could still be a big piece of the puzzle. Kind of trapped in the position they're in, though. Bullets being spammed up towards them. 27 plus on the periphery vision of the Vicious that move up down towards the location the DG77 are in. Now, if they end DG77's run, that's going to be a big spanner in the works for them. Obviously, this is another team that's looking to try and still complete a journey into the top 4. Do have a viable chance, quite a close grouping, right? But we'll see. Ooh, Butcher with a drop down on the nade. Isn't quite given the glory he was hoping for.
Had a good arc, could have been good, but yeah, the cover. And the thing is also these ridges have such weird angles sometimes, the bounce, and it goes completely a different direction. So you've got to make sure you're very accurate on those. The circle not being too kind to all of these edge teams. The only team that's looking relatively comfortable is going to be Motion. And I think the only reason why Motion's in a good spot is because TT Project are not in this game. Otherwise, there's a high likelihood it would be them in that position, as they tend to love these central positions very early on in these matches. Avalanche looking to still put a big emphasis on clearing Afterlife, maybe even the remaining duo of Atomic and Kino, as Aurora going to be, unfortunately, here eliminated fully out of this game. Not able to look too good. They still got one more game to go on Erangel, right? But Champions alive, Arcade alive, DG77 alive. Jack is going to get dicey here for them to remain truly comfortable up in the top 4 for the grand final slot.
Yeah, I mean, you know what, man? The longer this one goes on for the Vicious, realistically, they can put themselves down sort of the nice comfortable bedding and sleep on the fact that no one's ever going to get anywhere near them in these overall rankings. Aurora out of the running, so that one goes down without them having much of a fight. Champions could be a similar outcome in mere seconds from now. And there is also a lot of fragmented players there on both Arc and DG. So Champions now fully removed. All right, this is where it is on Arc and DG then to rise above one another, specifically in this head-to-head encounter. It's poetry that they found each other, but who wins it? That's the bigger question. Freezer, always so damn good in the head-to-head fights. He'll put bullets down range and punish onto one. 2 knocked players there with no real room to operate round to assist each other. They might just have to give up on it, try to survive as at least a solo, so they can flush onto the downed players, get the extra points from it, and still remain alive as a 4-man squad.
It's got a bit lucky for Fleeky. I think he was attempting to get an off angle for his squad as they were looking to push fully onto DG77. And as he did that, all of his teammates got eliminated. So he at least is away from the fight, can survive. Well, can't survive apparently. There's only going to be one elimination this match. No placement points, barely missing out as they do not reach top 8. So that is going to be really rough. So, hey, DG77, this is such an important game. This is going to be your paramount war on Miramar. As default, also here onto Amix, looking to slowly push up onto Avalanche. But yeah, mainly the teams you want to focus on are going to be DG77 and Vicious, but mainly DG77 as they are your cutoff for the finals. And when all the other teams below them are eliminated, this is your opportunity, your golden chance to create a lead, create a bit of a cushion. If they do win this game here, top 4 is going to be even harder to take down in the final match of Erangel.
Scary stuff out there. Surprised Butcher's just been able to live on this little ridge for so long as well. No one's quite been able to get an angle up towards him, and he hasn't been able to dispatch Afterlife with 2 of them still alive and kicking. Amix as well. These are the sort of games where the longer it goes on, the more they're going to start to rev up that energy level, effectively just coasting on the outer ridge for now. Large fight bubbling, though, with all of these teams on such an aggressive point of the map in terms of verticality. You're going to want to start stepping over each other soon here. Tommy's looking up towards the location of Afterlife. No real offensive utility to open it up with, though, so he's got to wait until they peak. He can't force them out with nades. And Default might just run into them. Yeah, gets eyeline on one. Chip damage down range, tries to spam. Meanwhile, though, they're being lit up from 2 sides, actually. It's Groza from Avalanche that closes the distance, whilst on the backside, they get hit by Ozorox as well.
You've got to pick and choose here. If you're Amix, you've got to choose one fight and fully commit to it. Otherwise, you're going to get completely wrecked on this cliffside. There's actually Ozorox thinking better of it. Not worth their time. Going to put an emphasis on making their way into the play zone, which is a good transition. Again, a team that is looking to not really make their way into top 4, but just get some significant improvements in their gameplay style. So hopefully, there is going to be hope for them in the last chance. Though Butcher, the extra member of Afterlife, they might be wanting to get rid of him finally. Windy, though, pushing solo. You've got to be careful. You need your squad to make it happen. As he does take a bit of a beating, so will Zixi. That's going to be looking really bad for the duo. Might just get 1v2 by Butcher. Raining down absolute hell. Good response with the DBS of Windy. But Butcher going back into hiding. Going to look to heal up, hopefully. He's down to just literally 1 bullet away from getting eliminated. But Windy in a similar situation here, having to commit to the first aid. It's getting dicey. It's getting risky. as Avalanche might just get fully demolished here on that position. Over to another fight, though. It's getting also a little bit tight on the edge. So many teams looking to encroach, but they will get pushed over the ridge eventually. As Zixi, yep, the res will come through, Jackie.
Getting back up, stay alive in the fight, and still have this duo to play with. So Windy still got his mate for now, at least. And Amix, as much as they were sort of squeezed there, being trapped between those two sides, at least they're still in it to win it potentially. They haven't entirely had this one ripped away from them. Doesn't get any easier for Afterlife, though, from this position they're in. You've got to be quick with the meds here, taking a lot of damage off the top side as well. So Windy, effectively all that remains for Afterlife. He's got a good angle to try pincer, but too slow on the timing. Switches to the DBS. Awkward fight over the lip. Oh, Groza tries to hold on, but eventually the buckshot will land on target. He can flush him out and shut them down. So he will be able to finish off a majority of the Avalanche squad there.
Ooh, but it's not looking good. He's going to get pushed over the ridge with the blue zone. It's going to get a bit dicey, but yeah, able to just gut the entirety of Avalanche as a duo. Windy, well done. Though the off angle from TGM and DG77 did somewhat assist him while that fight was unfolding, but Windy, a few bandages, actually last piece of utility. He couldn't quite loot up those crates behind him. The blue would have just been too much damage for him to tank. Oh, no way, he's got the slightest ridge. It's going to keep him safe away from TGM. He's still got now 40 seconds to survive, and I think after that 40-second timer here, it might just be game over for Afterlife and Windy. Because after that, we'll be making it to the top 7. But two teams are still in this match and looking comfortable in the zone. It's going to be Amix. They got 2-2 split and the entirety of Motion that are going to be also claiming that one singular compound in this circle that remains. Putting a bit of a TT project, but really DG77, they're over to the west. They've got good high ground oversight on everything unfolding in this circle. This is the team you want to focus on. This is the team that if they take a win, could be just locking down even more slots for those grand finals. So we'll see if they can pull it through, or if they will have an upset at the end of this match.
This does feel like a game where you never really know how the narrative's going to go on it. The known quantities going down early, some weird infighting, and now the Vicious taking the hits straight to Ozorox. In the meantime, it seems like Windy has been taken out by TGM. So goodbye Afterlife. They're out in 8th place as they get finished off on this one. Majority of Ozorox falling in quick succession as well, so it should be an easy conversion for some extra points for the Vicious. And they're going to be able to regroup back up. Could be taking the fight straight to Amix as well. Oh, maybe it's actually Kavik that's able to handle himself in terms of the gunplay. Good damage onto them. Quick peek back over from Narvalo. Spike assists with a headshot onto Icy. And this is turning into a very messy encounter.
This is what happens when you push a fight and you have no information on where the players are exactly located. Blue just really, the off angle denied everything, shut down all of the strategy of Vicious, but the nade is beautiful. That's Amix securing 2 easy eliminations off the back of that one singular piece of utility. Vicious meeting their end in this game. Looking at DG77, this could be an even bigger opportunity, not only to secure top 4 position, but maybe also to snatch the crown from the hands of Vicious at the top, and maybe even TT Project at the end of this 2 matches. DG, though, lost Nomi. It's down to Zadira, Frieza, and Prepod. They're looking to claim control up north. They're looking good. They're looking strong, but so do Amix and Motion. As Avalanche, we saw, got eliminated. Molodoy out in 4th. 3 teams now remain. It's down to the podium. Who will be able to clap back and get this win? So far, position-wise, DG's got an amazing ridge, keeping them nice and safe, using third-person perspective to get all the information they realistically need to convert this into a win. Will Amix let it happen for free, though?
I don't think they'll give anything up without a fight. They're on a bit of a rotate now, leaving Default on the higher ground, looking to see if they can get in a better position to actually maybe have a bit of a scout play on Kavik, get a read towards Motion, and then maybe engage from it. Meanwhile, Default, can he find a gap, possibly a way to actually backstab onto DG77 once this commotion kicks off? That could be the question there.
we're going on circle 8 here, meaning it's going to center up on basically no one. It's going to be in the open portion of the circle in the valley, away from the compound of motion. So the moment they leave, they're going to be very, very predictable. Unlike DG77 and Amix, they have a slight little spread, more angles to come from. So you can't just go and pre-fire the exit point. But Motion have been also very silent, right, the entirety of this game, Jackie. So meaning, realistically, they should have a lot of smokes to work with. Their armors and helmets should be looking really healthy too, especially if they looted tier 3 helmets and vests. So in terms of overall resources, they should be looking like a true contender this game. But so do DG. I'm looking up. They looted up a lot of death crates. They got 4 nades for one of the players in Zadira. 5 smokes. Those 5 smokes are really going to make life easier for DG. I'm wondering what Amix have, though, in their arsenal. Oh, actually, I didn't see this angle default, actually. Yeah, he's got himself some really strong elevation. Don't know how he got there. True parkour on full display. So that could be the winning position here, secured by DG.
You see the nades just soaring through the sky right now. Still a decent bounty of them in the inventory there for Amix. Smokes up all over the limited hard cover to play with for Motion. Kvik takes 1 bullet straight towards the upper chest, leaving him down to about a quarter of his health. He'll respond in kind with some nice nades. Play zone keeps them pinned in position. 1 by 1 they fall. And that's Motion that go down. So it will leave us into this final head-to-head then of DG77 and Amix to scrap it out. This is where that question of Default's position later on comes into the forefront. Will he be able to get a nice backstab angle? No, spotted out by Freezer. The front fragger as he hits heavy. Spike as well falls. The man in the vehicle goes teetering through the air, but it's not going to look good for him. And Havlik has to quickly pull off the medic play, save himself to go in for a fight. Nades coming towards him, shotgun in his hand. Zadira with a nade primed can throw this at his feet and should be able to blow it away for the victory. That's DG77 with a chicken dinner.
Oh, and this is going to be so bad for all the teams that got eliminated early on in this game of Miramar, because now DG77 are looking to climb even higher in the leaderboards. That final slot is looking pretty much locked in place for this squad. DG looking so strong in the process. And Amix also won, if not their best game so far of the entirety of PMGO EECA. We'll see if they can bring it back going into the last chance. But yeah, DG, 20-pointer. This time around, when Aurora got eliminated, Champions got eliminated, the likes of also Arcred taken out very early on. This is just the golden opportunity that was available. This was going to be a dream creator, and they did indeed strike while the iron was hot. Loving it, how they played it. And sure, as a trio, they didn't have the full squad right and still able to snatch it away. Though, if I'm going to be a little bit critical here, Jackie, Amix, it feels like they just had no communication at the end. They just sent it all over the place. It was very disorganized, and I think DG just saw that clear opportunity to punish a very obvious mistake, and they did it in style. So well done indeed to that squad, taking home a massive chicken dinner.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if that is a factor there, Max. It felt like in a few of the games, especially yesterday as well for Amix, like compared to the clean comms we had in the Club Open, where it felt like they were very easy in terms of the trades, how they play off each other. It's been more messy here, been more kind of scrappy, where they're just kind of vibing in these games rather than having the clean comms between each other. So maybe that is a factor, possibly a bit of frustration where they're thinking, well, we're not going to get into the top 4, so let's just do what we can. Who knows what the mental game's looking like. But for DG, that's going to be a hell of a result, right? Where I think you hit the nail on the head in the sense that so many of our other teams that were coming in today with the hot topic of, ooh, Champions, ooh, Aurora, well, they went down about 15 minutes into this game. So DG have lapped them.
Yeah, it's been a really good timing to get a chicken dinner like this. Looking at the elimination spread, only 2 players really getting those elimination points. It's going to be Zadira securing 4 and 6 headed the way of Freezer. I was waiting for when Freezer would start to get some big pointers. It's been mainly Zadira. I know you were singing his praises a few times here, Jackie, during the run of this tournament and even the previous one back in PMCO EEU. But Freezer also last year had some really flashy moments, and he's able to kind of redeem himself a bit more in this match. So yeah, 6 elims, good conversion also in 6 knocks. Every knock he found, he was making sure that was going to be an extra point headed his way for his team. And yeah, looking at the match summary, really good points overall around if you want to check out these stats. But the rankings, I know, I want to look at them again. It's getting really close now. We got one more game remaining before we do know which will be our 4 squads that officially advance into the grand finals of PMGO ECA Spring 2026. It's going to get dicey, and teams are going to have to take some really massive risks if they want to make that comeback.
Oh yeah, you've got to risk it for a biscuit, but also got to hope that you actually do get the consistent takeaway of points from it, mate. It's kind of dire straits out there now. I wonder how that's going to change things, if there'll be any targeted gameplay between those teams that are still in the topic of conversation or potentially bustling their way into that top 4. Let's have a look at the overall stats here then for Freezer as well, another player that's been very good in terms of his individual aim. You can see that represented here. Good majority of his shots landing on target in terms of the upper body and the head, so definitely dialed in. Feels like he's always got a very quick time to kill, right? And we sort of see that in some of these shots represented there in the stats. So good stuff from Freezer. Windy up in the total leaders again here as well, having another nice game of it. Sure, it might not be the best run overall for Afterlife, and we've definitely seen better from Windy, but at least we get to see his face again today, as it feels like it's been a bit of a windyless day.
Yeah, it's been really flat all over the place. No wind whatsoever. The sails are not going full assault mode as Windy, able to get a bit more presence. Good to see Narvalo too, able to represent France successfully on this Dusty Junes game. Though match rankings going to be 20 points. Not only secured by DG77 then, but also tied by Amix, getting 14 eliminations for themselves. So they're going to be able to get a little bit more confident. Actually, does that put them in reach of top 4? Question mark. Could be a decent setup for them, as also Vicious get 9 points for themselves. So I feel like in this last game, 4 slots are not available. That is for sure. We're going to be down to 1, maybe 2 if we really push it to its full potential. The one team that couldn't afford to suffer early casualties was Aurora. I think you said it, Jackie. Maybe reaching, what, the 15-minute mark of this game?
Yeah.
Way too early out of this match. To the hands, nonetheless, of Vicious, which you do not want to see happen. And that is going to push them down in 4th place. 3 points ahead of champions. Mongolia might just have only one team here making it to the grand finals.
Ooh, yeah, there you go. Kind of puts it into perspective now, looking at things in terms of the overall ranking, right? As, again, yes, that storyline continues between Champions and Aurora, but before, like you said, there was a timeline. We had both of them. Now, is that going to be a possibility? Well, we'd need to have a bad game from DG, really. That's the only way that could even be a chance. And then both of these teams would need to massively farm points. GOAT team there as well, of course, leasing out back on that previous matchup. You can see that means they're only going to keep slipping further down because they were all tied on points effectively. So everyone else that slowly moves past them in towards the top 6 and climbs a little bit higher. This is the bottom end of the leaderboard as well, with how that's looking. Slight move up from Afterlife, 2 places there, but again, none of it matters too much. Ironically, it is obviously Meta that are still in dead set last place. It is what it is, Max, unfortunately for them. But somehow today, the one salient point has been that if someone wants to test them, they will ruin your chances. So I think teams need to learn, even though that Meta's on the bottom, don't run at them. Don't just think they're 3 points, because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, if you want to test your mettle at the start of the game, just hot drop Metacore, and you'll see if you win the fight, you're truly ready to go the entire way for the win. And if you lose, well, unfortunately, it was not meant to be in the first place. So yeah, they're like your early TDM squad in this game. But no, very fun games here. It's going to be very close. It's going to get dicey to the top of the leaderboards here. But of course, it's going to get dicey between all of you guys in chat, because there are only 75 total of this Carnival Critter Thompson SMG skin. You can get for free by or entering the code or scanning the QR code right now. So make sure to secure it while you can. It's a cool looking skin. It's got a little bit of fur also on the back of it. It's looking really comfy in game. So maybe you'll get it for yourself right now.
Yeah, don't miss out on that chance. Get yourself a swanky Tommy skin to use. And like Max said, right, keep yourself warm. That's the sort of thing, if you were ever on Vikendi, you'd want to whip that bad boy out, mate. Nice bit of fur on the backside.
Well, I got to remind you, Vikendi's not in the esports format. I like Vikendi. I love it. Hey, Vikendi 2.0 update, please. Maybe one day. We'll see.
We'll see. It could be the dream. It won't be coming up, though. No Vikendi in our next game, but we will still have one final big game of knockouts. So join us in a couple minutes' time when we're back after the break.
Start the war!
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back. One final game to go today. Maximus Prime as we set ourselves up for the last matchup of Knockout. It's been a great day so far, Max. We've had some high heights and some low lows for some of our teams, but there is still chance of maybe one of our two top Mongolian squads pushing into that top four. Thoughts so far, Max? Excited for this one?
I mean, I couldn't agree any more than that. Right now, I am right. Gee, I was trying to. Oh my god, man, losing my English. Sorry about. I don't know. That was a terrible.
What's happened there?
I don't know what happened there. I wanted to put a joke and say Jackie Tron, and I lost myself in my sentence. That's one of the worst
good.
I've ever done. That's terrible. Yeah, I'm losing
That was
my
like
words, Jackie.
4 sentences in one. That was incredible, bud. Well
I'm
done.
working on all cylinders right now. It's getting okay. You know what, guys? Recap. Guys, we're
Yeah,
ready. It's time for the game. Okay, recap. It's Erangel, last match of knockout stage. It's going to be a Western played over to the east, northern side of Lipovka. Are we going to see the Mongolian magnet happening between Champions and Aurora? We'll have to wait and see. Outside of that, though, who's going to be dropping on good old Metacore? As you said earlier, Jackie, that's going to be a little bit of a testament of some of these squads if they have what it takes to come out on top and get the win.
Yeah, man. Are they going to be able to give us some business, give us some excitement for the end of this one? Who really knows? At this point, we are just observers on their quest for greatness here. Top four's looking spicy. The chance for it to be shaken up is going to be very tantalizing. So let's get into it and see. I mean, fingers crossed there's nothing ludicrous. I don't want to see teams fighting over farm, so nothing like that, please.
Oh. Well, there's no mad esports over there this time. They're going to be over to the western coast and next to hospitals, so they should be big chilling over there, in particular for Zadira on that western building. Okay, well, this circle is not going to be too fun. It's going to be a bit of a split between mainland and military islands. So, well, you know what? Teams around the bridges like Champions, Aurora, DG77, 777 are going to be looking really comfy. They can quickly make a transition over the other side if we do have a southern hard shift. But normally when you see a circle like this, most of the time it would end up pulling up north on mainland. But who knows? We could be in that one game where it does pull down south. And it could be a really fun military island finish. As at least Aurora won't lose a member early to the likes of Vicious. So it should remain as a full team for a little bit deeper on this game of Erangel, which is always a positive here. But looking at the rankings, I mean, second place, third place, fourth place, Aurora, DG77, Vicious. They need to hold down the fort against the likes of Champions and Arcred because these teams have been looking hot on their heels. And it's only single-digit point difference here, Jackie. So right now, we could be seeing a situation where Aurora fall flat on their faces and don't make it straight into the grand finals.
Yeah, it'd be really, really rough for them. You know, again, there's an element of it as well, Max, where honestly, we saw some of their games that were really just sort of, I don't know, nowhere near the level we expect from Aurora, right? Where kind of questionable decisions, weird fights, it was all going south. And then the minute we said, it's maybe just not Aurora's time. Maybe it's just a bit of a rough one. They're not going to get top four. They just start playing out of their mind. They're ripping heads off. They're playing confidently. Doc's doing crazy things. Top's hitting all the shots. They're winning all these duels with nades and getting chicken dinners. And then it comes into today where it feels like they've got their fingertips on that top four, and it does not look guaranteed. That's the scary bit about it, right? It now more than ever, it feels like it's slipping away from them. And the crazy one is on the periphery that's been there the whole time fairly consistently has been Arcred. It feels like they're just sort of the bridesmaids so far today. They're never quite being able to get the flowers, but they still have a chance. Maybe, just maybe, there'll be some surprises and Arcred will find a way to blitz through, take a top four. We'll see Champions and Aurora have it all blow up in their face. Hell, at that point, who knows, man? Maybe Amix decide to turn their entire legacy around, get a 10-point game with Elims and a chicken dinner or something ludicrous.
Definitely. I mean, hopefully they'll be able to get some of the limelight when you get rid of the 4 top teams going straight in the grand finals. That could be something to keep in mind, that they've been kind of holding on to a major portion of all these chicken dinners distributed over the course of these 3 days of action. So yeah, we should be making it a little bit easier to get some points and maybe some wins in the last chance. I'm looking across the map. The only point of contention that could result in an early game fight is going to be as Nia Poliano. You got 27 plus and TGM. Actually, as I said, that's not the only one. It seems like Southern Mansion is going to be somewhat open to an early fight. Good angle onto Tiger. Not sure why he's thrown there in the open. That's an easy knock and flush for Miyu. Not going to be wasting any extra time on that flush. As D2R, another team that really, why not? Just going to full send it, right? They're looking to be in 16th position. And I think at this point, you want to try and maybe reach top 12 just to limit test. See if you were in last chance, would you be able to make a comeback? Top 12 will be the entry point for the finals at that stage. But the off angle of Darling is going to be strong, looking good. It's got the organ hand. As you swap on over to the overall FOV, it's going to be a decent angle secured by Cyrex. Grills will be knocked in the distance. Can Cyrex hold it down? Can he get himself that knock up against the S12K off Darling? Damage has been hitting strong, but it will just not be able to connect. That's going to be the end for Metacore. And meaning, Jackie, if you beat Metacore on Phase 1 Hot Drop, you win the game. D2R, chicken dinner incoming.
Let's see them as they're on the move. Looking to get pretty aggro already on this one and bring some fighting our way. 27 plus is POV there as they're driving on by, but it's Ozorox that do get that contact on top of Doran and co. Shots on top of them. Vicious do just bail on it. No reason to just basically fall out and leave themselves susceptible to slipping any further, so they will just immediately bail and keep themselves coasting. Obviously want to see if they can push themselves up to guarantee that top placement off the back of TT that are still a decent chunk just ahead of them right now. It's about, what, sort of 20, 25 points realistically between both of them, so if you can force them out, that would be the dream. At least don't leave yourself susceptible to another team pushing up behind you.
Otherwise, a very slow, steady start from this team. Definitely can tell that the overall atmosphere is a bit different. We'll be saying goodbye to 4 teams after this because they will be having... Actually, it's really good for them. They'll be having a full 3-day break. The teams that have to play in last chance, you will be having to play 2 more days back-to-back, followed up by 1 break day before we enter into the finals. So this will be nice for these teams to get, and I'm sure they'll be anyways watching the games and trying to get some insight on where their competition will be dropping, going for the early rotations, etc., etc. I did see Doc's POV for a second. There was going to be a loot truck going down that pathway, so I do wonder if they're going to try and chase it down. Maybe we could see Top with an Orm. Ooh, sounds like absolute music to my ears. Actually, I don't think... You know what? Genuinely, for a player that plays the Mini 14 as much as Top does, I don't think I've seen him that often with the airdrop weapon, which is the Orm. Even the Lynx AMR, I think I've never seen it, at least not quite so often, so that could be fun. If it does spawn, though, because it doesn't always.
Yeah, just that chance of a big old vehicle full of sometimes heavy weapons, sometimes Kit Kats. You never really know. Always the risk you run.
Actually,
Aurora on the move. Oh, yeah.
Go on, mate. For Nomi, it's quite interesting. They got access to the cliffside just north of the river, and they do have a hovercraft. Which hovercraft, of course, if you want, which is a really cool strat to do, is if it does pull south, you just send the hovercraft over the ridge right in the water, and it's the easiest transition, even better than crossing bridges realistically. So you can see they are keeping their options open, putting their eggs in different baskets in case it does pull south. So Dagestan could be a team to be very quick on the pivot. But the circle does shift here. I believe it will come on your screen in a few seconds. It does go hard west, so DG will not have to go for that desperate push over the water.
Yeah, don't have to worry about it now, which makes their lives easier in the later rotation. That could be good. World champions be throwing some fists towards Mad here as well. Bit of space between them both, but they could actually cross on their pathway. Mad have seemed to be very willing to take multiple fights, even if they know it could result in their early demise. So maybe they will actually opt to get stuck into a bit of an engagement there. We'll see. This could inadvertently result in, again, a bit of a head-to-head between Aurora and champions a little bit later on into this one. You got the Aurora POV here, though, as they push up towards compound a la Ozorox as they're all set up together. It's Icy with the first knock here, meanwhile, in an encounter versus Destined to Rise. So they get a couple of bullets on target. TGM came over to third party, but Vicious involved with that one seemed to be pretty on top of the situation.
Quick pivot from Aurora. They crossed the bridge the moment the circle shifted over, pulling a Max Verstappen at the very start of that game. Though, yeah, TGM going to be able to go in an early altercation with Vicious. Good old VC, get around here. Dorian, though, picked off. So our current second place team could be falling. I still believe even if they do get eliminated, they should be somewhat safe. They do have a decent point gap between themselves and the likes of Aurora in fourth place. But still, you don't want to take that risk. Down to just 2 players. Is not going to be looking like the start they were hoping for. Because TGM, hey, you know what? 1 elimination for Retro. They've got to be careful. Mesa knocked out. We'll be looking to get a little bit of a redemption in that fight on Pachinki Hill. This circle, oh, there you go, Top involved in the elimination feed, finding a mini 14 shot. Might be looking to flush it out at a distance, but the thing is, when you are in Longwood, it's really hard to confirm those elims from a range, because a lot of players can just hide behind hay bales or a few buildings near the road, so it's really hard to actually convert early eliminations. But Doc, being Doc, will send it farm wide to get involved in that early game conversation.
Yeah, classic Doc, mate.
Yeah.
Runs on in. Let's see what he's going to be getting up to a little bit later onto this one. Hell of a unit on that team. Meanwhile, you've got an encounter here with Afterlife getting thrown into the fight versus Arc Red. Now, this is Arc Red that, remember, they're in position to potentially try and make it into that top 4 if it goes wrong for the teams above them. But right now, it's going very wrong for them. Oh, no. They're signing their own death warrant at this point, it seems, Max, as one by one, everyone on Arc is having a meltdown. And Afterlife have now been hit from a third party that is the pull-up from Amix. So goodbye, Arc. And Amix, if they can capitalize on this, it would be a hell of a feat. They take a casualty. They will lose 1 man. Default's out of the running for that team, but they at least convert onto the points of Afterlife.
It really is the situation where everyone's fighting, and you look at DG77, which right now their gameplay is do nothing and win. Everyone's getting eliminated. They're having an absolute field day. They're loving how this leaderboard is looking like on this final match. Though, looking on to another cheeky skirmish on the battleground. It's going to be 27 plus, pushing up on the mountaintop of Avalanche. Not looking too good, though, for the final playoff. Butcher and Groza. Butcher next to full, Groza in the buggy. Might be time to actually leave this area. Yeah, confirm that one might as well. But as I say, that 27 plus getting also fully eliminated from this match. That is going to be them locked on in 17th position. Maybe even in 18th position based on what Motion might be able to do in this game. But TGM, making full use of Pachinki Hill, one of my favorite areas on the entirety of Erangel, and here able to leverage it to get 4 early elims. Not too shabby, able to get a bit more involvement on this match early on.
Oh, yeah. Throw themselves in and see if they can shake off the ring rust early and prove us what they're made of. So good signs so far. Already it's been such a weird encounter with that sort of mid portion where anytime you do think someone that's just on the precipice of greatness will have a big game, always gets taken away from them early. So that weird sort of back-to-back fight there we had towards Afterlife being potentially one to remember the longer this goes on. For DG, will they come unstuck in the battle of all of those 7s? DG77 versus the 777 squad potentially becoming a more big talking point in a couple moments time here between these teams. TGM obviously were just getting basically picked off from a distance at one point, so they bailed. I believe that was the Vicious that got that connection off onto the one player. So the triple threat from them, still just on a bit of a slower rotate, taking their time with it.
I mean, Aurora just playing tower defense here on Longwood. Don't really have to move around too much. They've got to be careful. One rotation we didn't really highlight too much at the start of this game. Motion took a gamble. They thought it was going to be a straight-up military island finish. They sent a botation south of that island onto the beaches. And because of that, actually are behind Motion. And I think this is something Aurora are fully unprepared to get to fight directly, because they thought they cleaned up the entirety of the island. Normally, no one's going to be down behind them. But at least they do have Doc on Lighthouse, which could be a good way to hold off the Polish team. But we do see on the minimap, they are pushing up. They are going to be looking to clash with Ziol directly. This might be a good time for Aurora to give up the 2-2 split. I think they are stretched a little bit too thinly to fight a full Polish team. one player makes it to the building, so should the entirety of the rest of the squad, as TGM, they're leaving the mountaintop, looking to push into the field, and so far it's looking terrible, it's looking bad, and Sanish also will get picked off. TGM sent to an early grave with only 4 eliminations to their name.
See you later. Nothing more gained on that one. No, you're good, man.
I had an opening, so I'm like, I'll just go for it.
I'm on.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
see if Aurora will be able to do it here. Still not able to fully regroup. Doc was able to go for the fight, pushing his way deeper into the skirmish. Emotion have yet to flush a single in, meaning there's still hope for Aurora to not take a single casualty in this fight. Zyol is now stranded alone. He's in actually a decent position. He's behind a wall where actually his teammates can assist him directly, and he is indeed in nade range. Zyol, the S12K and the nade, he gets 2 knocks at the drop of a hat. This guy is absolutely insane when he is pushed to shove. As now the final member, Ked, tries to go for the wraparound, and all they needed is Zyol on top, and oh my goodness, the fight looked so damn easy, Jackie. They get 7 elims. They're looking good in 4th position.
Yeah, now they're cooking. This is the sort of signs that we wanted to see from Aurora, right? Playing very confidently in terms of the individual encounters and winning out on the offerings that have come their way, driving over the bridge straight into their hands. So big pickups there, leaving themselves as the current elimination leaders in the lobby, ahead by 1 over 777, but the difference being Aurora are the side that have all 4 players alive and are looking to guarantee themselves a high placement on this one to have that safety net within the top 4 teams going into the finals. Could be exactly what the doc ordered for that team if it carries on like this. Shots onto Kino and co there. That's against 777. Kino with the AUG will turn his attention right around though and behead the warrior. So he falls, and 777 are going to get crashed on instantly because of this. Demo actually bonnet 6 right out of the map. So this whole team crumbling quickly now. Only 1 player left alive.
This is a very important fight for Champions. It's kind of like they're pulling up the ladder behind themselves to make sure teams like 777 can't catch up, even if they have an absolute banging chicken dinner. So this is exactly what we want to see from Champions. We could be, we said we might just have 1 Mongolian team making it to the finals. You know what? The points coming in from both Aurora and Champions are looking mighty, mighty strong. Of course, that will mean we do have to lose DG77 that have yet to claim a single life this game. Though, one thing that's very important to mention is DG77 saw Aurora commit to the fight onto motion, and they snatched away Longwood from the grasp of Aurora. So no more high ground position left for them. It's now Amix fighting through the western edge of Ferry Pit. And they will be looking to get 4 early eliminations, though. Pushing upstairs is not going to be easy. There's going to be just 1 player up there, if I'm not mistaken. The nades do some work. Spike though, and the Molotov, he's gonna drop. The tick damage will be there. Spike, that's it. You gotta try and redeem it. Kvik has got his own piece of utility. The Molotov on the wooden floor. You don't want to do that, Kvik. What is that utility? Everything is falling apart for Amix, and Spike confirmed by his teammate. This is an act of treason.
Oh dear. What is going on, mate? The infighting, but not amongst the teams, amongst them very selves, as it all goes a little bit southward. That nade bouncing down the stairway here in the meantime onto Amix. That's in a prime position of Blowdon post the actual kill coming through. But no, somehow, some way, they withstand the detonation, pick up the elim, and actually do survive on it for now at least. So it's messy, sure, but Amix still have a duo in the running off the back of closing out onto the solo from 777.
I don't know why Kvik was shooting the death crate of 777. Like, you don't deserve to bring BM to the equation here. Those Molotovs were terrible. Your own mate at the end, you could have rezzed him back up. You know what? Who's going to enjoy the fact that Amix is now not a full squad? It's going to be good old Aurora. Because now the only southern teams that was there was going to be Aurora and Amix. So they're going to be looking to have an absolute field day at the end of this game. Ozrox, though, looking to make their push upwards onto Longwood. Those going to be successfully defended so far by DG, pushing them back. And now with the nades, is going to demand a bit more respect from the Serbian team. Good util, though losing Nomi again very early on in the match has been happening multiple times throughout the entirety of this knockout stage. So it's down to Prepod, Frieza, and Zadira once again. The deadly trio, though Champions want a piece of the pie, apparently. They're looking to crash it, somewhat blind. And DG, they see this fight. They don't have to get involved. This could be looking like a very strong third party from DG if the timing is right. It's Champions down to now just a duo. It's Fearless, it's Demo. The man has pulled it through so many times. Can Demo do it again? The bad boy with a shotgun. They've got a 3v2 scenario. Leon will be the next to fall. He goes for the jump shot, though. It's not going to connect. Well, the shot through the wall. He's dodging everything, but Demo will get overwhelmed. Fearless now. It is his time, his opportunity to keep the dream alive. Onto Ozorox, pushing up through the staircase. Blue cooking the nade a little bit too late. Does still take some damage. The shots are not connected, and it's Blue. He falls once again. Fearless keeping it going, but Dagestan have a different plan in mind. They get involved in the warehouse and will get the cleanup. Champions eliminated, and now looking for the final player, Melaz and Leon of Ozorox.
Goodbye, Champions. The conversation of which Mongolian teams will make it through to the top 4 now becomes a little bit more defined, with Aurora still standing 104 points currently with 8 elims racked up. And they're in a position to make sure they make it through that spot. The only squad underneath them really now is Amix, and that's just a duo. And they do not have enough opportunities remaining on this one, it feels like, to lap them. So we should have a good idea where we're going from here. Ozorox inside of the building as well. This awkward encounter could continue. You got the setup from Aurora in the back line with crosshairs honed in towards. And meanwhile, on the top floor, Dagestan lying in wait, just trying to stay tucked in. That's DG, with all 3 of their players topping themselves back up. If they could shut down Ozorox, grab an even bigger injection of points, add 3 to this, it could be a good run of things in a matchup for them. Kvik from the side gets hits by D2R as well. That's duo-on-duo combat right now.
It's getting real hectic, but keep in mind also, because of the fact we do lose 777, Arcred and Champions early on, our top 4 is pretty much locked in Aurora, DG77, Vicious, and TT Project. So well done to those teams. At this point, Aurora just fighting for glory and extra cash money, which with that snatch on the position of DG, that was exactly what they are looking for. Could be looking for a 10 elimination game here, possibly. And I think DG know they are going to be in danger's way. Good nade. The bounce is strong. Going to be forcing a little bit of a repositioning from the members of Ozorox. But yeah, now it's going to be a full-on send in the smokes. It's all over the place. They don't have the intel on where the players are exactly located. But Melaz with a DBS looking to wrap behind it. It's going to be a one-on-one trade. Ozorox down to now just one. It's going to be Leon 44. And he's just spraying and praying, but it's just not going to be enough to topple down the Empire set up by DG. And down to 1. Might just get the double res on his teammates as Yol looking to look for a quick exit and actually get some insight in the circle.
There you go. Okay, so DG7E7 should be able to pick up the pieces from this one and at least stay alive for now, unless Top has something to say about it. Threading the needle with an aid. He wants to line that one up, but it's not going to bounce in. The downed man trapped towards the zone, though, being eaten by it, and one by one the play zone will rip its way through them, so the story does come to an end eventually. DG77 thriving in the chaos where possible, but now finally removed from the equation. We get our final 4 squads then that are left to fight it out in the last game of the day here. 4 knockout, our closing match. It's Aurora, Mad, Destined to Rise, and Amix.
This is exactly the kind of move that we expect from Aurora Gaming. Just these glimmers of hope in these moments where you're just like, okay, they know what they're doing. Zyol, the anchor point southwest, and then moved on to the southern eastern side away from Ferry Pier. He was just there to facilitate that transition after cleaning up DG77 in the warehouse. So that was just a perfect setup. Now, going to be somewhat away from the rest of these teams, away from Mad, away from Amix, away from Destined to Rise. They still have those 4 players ready to go at a moment's notice. As they're peeking over the ridge, and I believe Top might still have that mini 14. So if he does, oh my goodness, that's going to be a headshot after headshot, just raining upon the entirety of Longwood in the distance.
Doc trying to get distance off here as well, looking in. You can see they're antsy. But a nice little pep in their step right now with how this game's gone. Things looking far better overall for Aurora, knowing that if they can just guarantee themselves a big injection of points on this one, they can not only get through in that top 4 spot, but do it in absolute style with confidence behind them. It's a hell of a way to send a message to the other teams in the lobby. Everyone else still playing a little bit slower on this one, seeing if there'll be any mistakes made. Top with the mini 14. That's a sentence that goes hand in hand together, and he's looking for a peek up. See if he can get a shot off. Absolute reveals himself with a little peek there. Could be the dinner bell being rung of Top looking to try and get a shot across. Suspicious about Amix as well. Oh, he was waiting for the chance, but can't quite hit it when he makes a move.
Yeah, moving targets like that, especially when they're dropping down, is so much harder to hit. So Absolute, luckily enough, will survive the encounter. Good on Amix, by the way. Keeping this smoke, just refreshing it every time one dissipates. They've got 8 nades too, but it's really good because it does make it so much harder for Mad to hit those nades, to really thread the needle with that utility through the window of that shed. So Amix knowing exactly what they're doing. Really good investment on the util. As I say that, oh, that nade does hit eventually. Seems like even the smoke will not keep them alive. Sometimes you're just going to throw it in front of the wall and you still will get some significant damage. Another refresh on the smoke here from Vic. Again, imagine if he didn't flush his teammate. They could be looking so much more dominant on the mountain up north. Absolute. 2 more nades. You don't want to waste them. You've got to make sure you hit the nail on the head. Otherwise, out of resources, it's going to be really hard to take the fight up to Aurora later on. Nade chucked. And again, wasted. Don't use it if you know you are not going to hit that util.
Yeah, keep it until it matters most. Reserves are going to be coming at an absolute premium at this point. Shooting the feet there. It's looking good for Top. He's getting the taps over.
Oh!
You try and tuck back in, Max, but you're not moving quick enough. Goodbye, Amix, as Top will punish from the distance. The DMR hero strikes again.
Top saying, dance for me. And Amix did dance until they went out of the game. Aurora, they got the off angles over to the east. So do Top, though. Top somewhat not spotted out heavily by Mad. They're really looking mostly over to the east, and Doc going for the off angle on the high ground. That is in zone, by the way. It was a bit risky, but he did get... Oh, well, you know what? He did get knocked. I was going to say it was risky. He was lucky he did survive the transition, but he does get taken out eventually. Top getting in range. There's actually, I believe, going to be a nade range. You've got to be very careful. There's going to be a very quick and swift response from Mad Esports, and the nades indeed are inbound, locked and loaded, and that is going to be Top also eliminated from that game, unless a cheeky res comes through, which I'm really not expected. If you are in nade range, going for the res is not something you should commit to. As Yol, also though, able to clap back with his own utility. And so what HGSX, oh my goodness, the nades are looking so good. Aurora may be able to somewhat redeem this game. Keep in mind, the Doc, despite being knocked here up north, he's giving Insight the exact pinpoint location of all the members of Mad Esports over to Zyol and Refus. That information alone could be what separates this from a second place and a chicken dinner for Aurora Gaming.
Comes down to the bitter end then. A lot riding on it. Let's see if they can keep level heads on their shoulders for the final few moments of this one. As Mad just keep their bellies down to the ground, trying to stay out of trouble. And that's not usually what happens for a team like Aurora. They always throw caution to the wind and get stuck straight in. Doc, of course, it didn't work out as well for him as he would have liked. You lose out on your heavy artillery of Top as well, who's been hitting quite nicely on this one. So it's a big disadvantage for Aurora. Can the 2-man team of Zol and Refus step up when it matters most? Defensive utility out, try and create a bit of space to play with. Zol looking in the back line. Oh, he didn't even see the peak coming. Instant connection onto him. They soften him up, bait out the use of the meds. Bid priming the nade. That could be on target. It's a nice trade back, though. They hit onto Absolute, but Joel will fall as Taknov hits that one, and it all goes down to Refus in a bit of an uncomfortable spot here. Tries to set himself up in the smoke, but it's starting to fade. He's leaving himself open to the hit. Bid in the back line. The shot comes out. It's not quite on target, and he will fall. Aurora's lights go out as Mad statch away that final chicken dinner of knockout.
Yeah, really strong angle across the road. They were able to get so much pressure, really denying the mobility potential of Aurora Gaming, and because of that, were able to push up in the end in the smoke, and even the smoke play of Refus was not enough for them to climb up the ranks and get that chicken dinner. So good on Mad Esports, finally getting not only just a chicken dinner, really high elimination 1-2, 17 points on the board. Could be looking a bit more confident headed into last chance. But of course, with the simple fact here, Jackie, that we do have then a second place secured by Aurora, they're going to be looking even higher on the leaderboards. I believe could be even looking to be in third, even maybe second place, because this is a big game for them. And we know they're going into the finals, but just again, as you said a few times, making a statement here that they are looking really like a strong